I wish I knew how to quit you.
Then why don't you?
You're listening to Codependent Content, the podcast where we discuss the TV shows, movies, books, and video games in which we share an unhealthy relationship.
That is where you've always been wrong about me, Lex. I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared. I wake up every morning and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and I try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time, but that is being human. And that's my greatest strength.
Welcome back to Codependent Content. My name is Mattias Marasigan, and I'm joined by our co-host today.
Hi, my name is Morgan.
You know him, you love him. He was here last with Foundation, right? It's been a while.
Yeah.
We've gotten through a few podcast episodes.
September, and now we're in January
it's
of 2026.
It's a whole new year. This is the first episode of 2026, and here we are. We podcasted for almost a whole year. Or I've been podcasting for almost a whole year, but that's brought back the podcast after a little bit of a hiatus, and it's still going. It's still here. Yeah. But yeah, we have, as I mentioned in the last episode. Natalie will be back. We're going to talk about A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. In the meantime, though, we had a small break and I reached out to Morgan and I said, hey, do you want to do a top 10 of the year kind of thing? Like a year retrospective, kind of
totally.
of the content that we've watched. And we don't get to talk about films much. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to share. I'm sure you read the title, our top 10 of 2025. Films that we have watched. By the way, are you looking forward to A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms?
Yes, very much, yes.
You're a Game of Thrones fan?
I am a Game of Thrones fan.
Are you a House of Dragon fan?
I need to try and rewatch. I watched the pilot and couldn't do it.
Oh, interesting.
There's that birthing sequence where she's basically tortured and has a child ripped out from inside of her.
It's rough.
And I was just like, this is the most horrific thing I've ever seen. I don't think I want to come back to this show.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sensitive, huh?
Yeah, maybe.
Fair enough, but I do think it's, I don't know. I love Game of Thrones. I think, the harsh world of, listen, the thing about Game of Thrones is they don't treat women the best.
Yeah, no, they don't.
But that's part of the world too. I don't know. I don't know what they say about that. Well, I guess I can talk about that later with Natalie.
You'll have plenty of time to talk about it.
Or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come up.
But yeah, interesting show. I'm looking forward to talking about that. But yeah, we're here to talk about movies today.
Yeah.
So we have a top 10 list ready to go. We have some other extra categories, some things that I stole from other podcasts. And some things that I made up specifically for our podcast because it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad you can join me for this, Morgan.
Yeah.
You had to catch up on a lot of movies, you said, though.
I did. I mean, I did and I didn't. I think part of making a top 10 of 2025 list is being like you said, too, well, what got me into the theater? What did I actually go out of my way to go and see? There's definitely a handful of movies that I still haven't seen that I feel a little bit bad for not having seen.
Yeah.
That maybe they would have been on my list had I made it out there. I didn't see Begonia. I didn't see Hamnet. I didn't see, I'm trying to think of other iconic ones from this year. Well, maybe they'll be talked about later. Who knows? But yeah, there's a couple big ones.
I do have a list of movies that I also did not get to watch, but I think it's great is we're not film critics by any means, so we don't get to go to the screenings or do whatever. I always feel bad whenever I get to the end of the year and I'm like, oh, there's so many movies that came out and all some of the best ones, it's award season kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Some of the best ones always come out near the end of the year, so there's always a lot to catch up on. Those are my favorite type of movies.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, they do make everyone's lists critic-wise kind of feel the same.
Yeah.
So I'm actually kind of glad that we don't get to watch everything because then it makes our lists unique to us and what we're interested in and what we do want to watch, I'm
going to promise you my list is very much my own. This is a far cry.
You
from
only
an
watched
Oscars
10
list.
movies this year and all 10.
Yeah. Who knew that Zootopia 2 was going to be on my list?
Hey, it is on some people.
Yeah, I needed 10.
It wouldn't be surprising.
There's nothing wrong with it. I like that movie.
So movies that I also did not get to see, but that you might be thinking, why is this not on your list? Just to get this out of the way.
Sure.
Pillion, which is a very small movie. I don't know if many people have seen that, but I've heard really good things about that with Alexander Skarsgård. Is this thing on the Bradley Cooper movie? Didn't get to see that.
Okay, get this. I tried to see it last week at the AMC Burbank 16. I had a triple feature lined up. Immediately after the first movie, which I'm not going to name in case it's on a list.
Yes.
I walk out of the theater. Burbank has a power outage for 2.5 hours. So I did not get to see it.
They have power outages a lot.
Yeah, power was down in Burbank for like 3 or 4 hours.
Dang.
AMC and everything in that little plaza by the 16. So I went home, took a nap, and then came back and saw Screen Unseen. Spoiler alert, it was Primate. Which is a 2026 movie.
Which jumped to your number one movie of the year.
Technically, it's not allowed because it came out in 2026.
Yes, you're right.
But otherwise, obviously, it'd be on the top 10.
I was seeing is this thing on specifically? I was seeing like new commercials with all the critic things, and it says best movie of the year, and it's saying now playing in theaters, and I'm confused because I'm like, I'm seeing this ad in 2026. Which year are they talking about? So I was actually, I had to look it up. I was like, is this thing on a 2025 movie or a 2026 movie? Because I wasn't actually sure.
I got a couple things like that, even with our list.
Yeah.
One movie specifically that I'll talk about more when we get to it. But I'll also, in a movie that I love very dearly, but I've chosen not to talk about it today.
Okay.
Even though I saw it on January 1st of 2025, was Nosferatu. That movie absolutely came out in December of 2024. So I chose not to talk about that movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
There's a few things that happened
I saw
with
it
me
in 2025.
Some of the, I'm trying to think, is there anything on my list? So I watched a bunch of movies like near the end of the holidays, and I got through a few of them on January 1st. I'm like, okay,
sure,
they were 2025 movies and I'd watch them in 2026. It depends on like when I watch them, right?
Sure.
And then there's a certain point where I'm like, okay, I've missed the boat.
If you want to count it for you, if it for you, truly, if it feels like 2025 for you, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
For me, I felt like I was late to the game on that movie, and like it had such a like big, loud international release that I was like, and already like we already did an award season for that movie and stuff, so I'm like, not for me. But if you want to put that on your list or something like that. That's the thing, is like,
I think a top 10 list should be, these are the movies I got to watch, you know, like these are, you know, so at the end of the day, it's like, if you didn't catch it maybe on January 1st, then whatever, I don't know. But like, it just depends on, at least it was like, I made the attempt, right? And here's other things on my list that I didn't get to watch that could be, I know are making it on people's lists or might be making it on people's lists, or I've heard good things about, but I'm like, sorry, didn't get to see it. I didn't get to see Smashing Machine. Didn't get to see The Chronology of Water. I didn't get to see It Was Just an Accident, which I think is a foreign film, but I've heard many good things about that movie, you know? I didn't get to see Rental Family.
Didn't see that either.
I really, really wanted to see. And I didn't get to see Blue Moon. Ethan Hawke, which I've heard is such a good movie. Just like really passed me by. I think it was even earlier in the year, and I just completely.
I think that came out. It was like a Linklater movie, right? That came out in like October.
Was it Linklater? It's I've heard. I mean, I also heard about the next movie that they're already working on, and he's like, "This is going to be amazing." And I'm like, "Oh, what is Linklater working on?" I love Linklater. But yeah, and then also one movie that I suspect might be on your list because we have talked about it. But I never ever got to see it is Naked Gun. So you don't have to reveal it or not, but I never got to see it, you know? So, but I also heard good things about that. Not that Naked Gun is probably making it on the top 10 of the year list, but I just remember you really, really loving that.
Totally.
So, but yeah, those are our disclaimers whenever you're yelling at us for like, what have you not watched? What have you missed? Those are the ones that I haven't seen. So that's why they're not on my list. But maybe they're good, you know?
A lot of those are on my list too, that I haven't seen. Like most of the movies you just listed, I didn't see either. So don't expect them on my list either.
For most of you guys too, you might have already seen a video that I put out on TikTok and on Instagram, I believe, where I go through my top 12 of the year by Letterboxd score. And the reason it's top 12 is because I had anything that's 4.5 stars and above. And so I was like, do I cut out 2 of these or do I like do, you know? So I was like, this is just based on rating, right? And this has nothing to do with like so most of those will probably overlap. Some of those will be taken off of my list. So you might already be spoiled. You might already know what's coming down the pipe, but I will say there's a couple of movies in here that were maybe 4-star or below that I felt differently about like a year later, you know? So that's why the list might for me change. So stay tuned, anticipation for that. So yeah, spoilers, by the way, for any of these movies.
Yeah.
If you have not seen any of these movies, when we get to it, I'll try and do like time codes of like when we talk about number 10 and 9 or whatever, you know, so you can maybe skip ahead, you know, if you feel like it. There's some movies that I might not want to spoil because I think like the experience of the movie is like really, really good. But you should assume that if we're going to spoil these movies when we talk about them. But the way we're going to go through this, we're going to go back and forth, talk about our 10, our number 9, our number 8, and so on and so forth. If it is higher on each other's list, we've decided that we'll just hold off on talking about it until a little bit later on. Yes. But we'll let you guys know that when that happens.
Cool.
So yeah. Are you ready to start talking about our list?
Yeah.
Let's do this. So Morgan, do you want to tell me what your number 10 movie is?
My number 10 movie of 2025 is Final Destination Bloodlines.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. In case you haven't been keeping track, it's the first Final Destination movie since 2011. And let me just say that I think I am, like many millennials, still terrorized when I'm on the highway and there's a truck in front of me with a bunch of pipes or logs in it.
Yes.
Anytime an elevator isn't functioning super smoothly, I'm still a little queasy or uncertain about getting around it. And man, if Hollywood is here just to mine old IP and try and make it new, they nailed it with Final Destination Bloodlines. They took everything that makes Final Destination fun, right? Like weird, kooky deaths, kind of like idiotic characters you don't super mind watching get killed by a garbage truck or, I don't know, dying of a peanut allergy inside like a hyperbolic chamber or something like that. It's just so much fun. Also, there's an outstanding Tony Todd cameo in it.
Oh,
he knows exactly what movie he's in. It's this unbelievable monologue. It's so much fun. Did it make me get up and think about the human condition? Of course not. It's Final Destination Bloodlines. But here's the thing.
If anything, death comes for us all is a very...
Look, but here's the thing also, right? Every movie can't be, Schindler's List or whatever, or Jurassic Park. And like, man, Final Destination is the kind of movie that's really fun to go to the movie theater, sit down with a bunch of strangers and kind of wince and laugh at some absolutely absurd, tragicomic deaths.
I feel like the theatrical experience for this was really fun.
This is why it's on my list. I
almost thought about including, and I don't know if we maybe should talk about it later and just off the cuff, but like best moment or theatrical experience,
If we did, this would be very close to my number 1, right?
Yeah.
Because do I think it's a great movie? I don't know. It's like the 19th Final Destination movie, right? It's like whatever. But I think both as someone who likes going to the theater, having those kind of experiences with a crowd, right? I went on a Friday night, theater was packed, and from the get-go, everybody knew what this movie was supposed to be about, and it delivered. It was just awesome. I would say if you've seen Final Destination movies in the past and you're curious, you want kind of one of those like super campy, ridiculous horror movies, it's very fun.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
I heard good things about this movie. I'm not a horror movie aficionado. It's not like typically my go-to for things. I'm very specific when it comes to horror.
Yeah.
But I do have, as you said, as a millennial, very fond memories of the Final Destination movies. So like they're horror done pretty well. But I think the creators of Bloodline, if I recall correctly, they're just very knowledgeable. They know what people come to these movies for, and that's like the practical stunts and effects, and the curious, creative ways they come out with these Rube Goldberg machines. And that's all, as far as I understand it, very present within this movie.
Extremely. That's exactly right. It's actually, I wrote this down. So the movie was directed by, and I'm going to read this. Yeah. Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein, who worked together and met making, care to fashion a guess, Kim Possible. But I mean, like, but to your point, they get it. You know, these guys aren't even necessarily horror nerds. They just understand, I guess, what a franchise is about. But it was awesome. Really cool. That's my number 10. I don't have a ton more to say about it because the plot of Final Destination Bloodlines isn't terribly important. Me getting into like the nitty gritty of it isn't going to like change how you feel about it, most likely. But if you want to watch some wacky, gruesome deaths and just have a fun, campy time at a movie, highly recommend. Man, I'm curious, like what movies this beat out for it to be your number 10 when we get to honorable mentions. I got some honorable mentions, yeah. For sure. Okay, well, my number 10 is Warfare. Yeah. Produced by Alex Garland, who last did Civil War, and also helped write and produce the 28 Years Later movie this year. But this was, I didn't write down the director, Roy something, Mendoza. Anyway, Ray. Anyway. I'll look it up for you while you talk about it. The point is, it doesn't matter. Not directed by Alex Garland, but it's using the coordinator and consultant, the military consultant from Civil War. Yeah. And he had this story that he wanted to tell. And they decided to kind of like go into this, co-direct in a way to make this film. Ray Mendoza, you got it. Yep. And so this is directed by Ray Mendoza, who's basically just a veteran who helped out with the other movies. He helps out with the accuracy of Civil War and things like that, right? He's a consultant mostly. But he's a veteran, and this is basically his story. At the beginning of the film, this says, based on the memories of whatever, right? So they went to all these guys and said, what is your memory? What do you remember? So it's trying to be as accurate as possible. Here's the thing. This is a movie that, I feel like I knew I was going to like. I'm typically, especially when it comes to veteran stuff, as a veteran myself, these hit harder for me than I think a lot of other people. This film is, as you said, it's not going much into like the human condition or, there's a theme or an arc for this like main character or all these kinds of stuff. We're not trying to say anything maybe about war, like for or against or whatever. It's just this moment in time for this group of people. And as a film, that might not connect with everyone, but to me, it connected with me as someone who has served with or known veterans that has gone to Afghanistan and Iraq and been in war. Whenever I see movies like, say, The Outpost, or I see a movie like this, I'm just thinking about my friend who was in the army stationed in Afghanistan and what he had to go through to get his Purple Heart, you know? And what I really liked about this is that it doesn't glamorize it by any means. It's very brutal. It shows, I think often we have war films where we cast grown men a lot of times when most of the time we need to be seeing what they really are, which is like 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And here they actually cast kids. I think the last time this happened that I really liked was All Quiet on the Western Front, where you really saw just basically literal children. Boys. These are boys. And to say, hear the screams of agony of Joseph Quinn when things happen and he's just like hurt and they're trying to like help him. And like that is like, it's brutal and it's heart-wrenching, but it's like real, you know? And I just loved it. I loved how it presented this thing. Again, I don't know that it's... I said this in my previous TikTok. I know people say it's hard to make an anti-war film or it's impossible to do that. I do think that even though this seems more like this is pro-soldier, but it to me is anti-war.
I know the director said and Alex said they don't like to get political with these things. They don't want to make it pro or anti anything. But I think for me, that's what I get out of it. Like, this is still pro soldier in that, like, hey, this is, we feel for these guys. We want them to get through their predicament. But we're not going to glamorize it. And I think it's as close as you get to like anti-war. That's like, these things happened regardless of whether or not we should have been there or why or any of these kind of things. It's like, it still happened. You know, these are still boys doing what they have to do, that have to go through like life-changing circumstances and major trauma, you know, and I don't envy that. And the fact that we send boys out to do that, you know?
I mean, it's funny hearing you talk about it because I didn't see Warfare.
Yeah.
I think in part because I loved Civil War, but that movie fucking shook me. I felt awful after that movie. It's really scary. And a lot of the things you're saying about Warfare are exactly how I felt about Civil War, where like they go out, right? It's about a civil war in the United States. The movie goes out of its way to make sure you don't know what the Civil War politically was about in the movie, fictionalized, right? Why one side is fighting for things and the other side is, right? It is much more just about the human cost. If we actually get to the point of no more talking, we're just going to start pointing guns at each other. I love that movie, but it definitely was like, did not feel good. You know what I mean? Like it was like important and powerful, but like it is difficult thinking of watching Civil War again. And it feels like Warfare is maybe in a similar light, where it is very true and very honest and like doesn't politicize war from a conservative, leftist or rightist perspective, but it is kind of inherently political in that you have to acknowledge there is a cost to doing these things.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that you can go into in terms of just storytelling of it all, in terms of, well, you know, who are these characters? Like what do we believe in terms of their ideals or whatever, right? And then who do they become like on the outset or whatever? And I think this is where you try, and these kinds of movies, you have to come to like some sort of common ground of like, this is just a human being and a soldier, and like at this time they were doing a job and doing it to the best of their ability.
Yeah.
And these things happen, right? And you can politicize that after the fact. You can look at it and be like, this is propaganda. You can look at it and be like, well, this is glorifying the soldier and these events and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know that I can see those sides of the argument. I don't know that I agree wholeheartedly. I think we need these kinds of stories. As someone who is a big advocate for veterans affairs, like mental health and all these kind of things. And often I think that we look at veterans and assume that they all went through this kind of experience, which is not true. But we have to like see like the most traumatic experience to show that like, hey, we like this like affects all of our veterans, I think, you know, and the fact that we have so few resources for veterans just coming back from that. And if we keep not telling these stories, if we keep not showing it, then it's easier to forget about it, right? The unseen is, we always talk about people who experience homelessness and like the unseen like epidemic with those kinds of things and like out of sight, out of mind. And I think it's the same thing with like veterans, right? We can easily talk about the military industrial complex and like how much we spend on the military and all these kinds of things, which I think is worth talking about. Maybe we spend too much on those things, whatever. But when we forget like the individual stories of these soldiers, I don't care about the people who sent them to war or why we went to war or do whatever, but I care about these soldiers that grew up and just wanted to do something for the country or probably had nothing else to do, you know, like me. I wasn't going to college, so I joined the military and I could have easily been here. I wasn't, but it has nothing to do with political. It's just a person that like someone has to do the job. I don't know. I can talk all day about veteran stuff, which is why this is on my list. Yeah. And I think it's just a very powerful film. And I think, again, at the end of the day, to me is not pro-war. It's at least pro-soldier, anti-war.
Sure.
I empathize with it a lot. So that's
Sounds
why this is
awesome. Okay, can we go to my number 9?
Yes. Morgan, what is your number 9 movie of the year?
You probably already guessed it. My number 9 is K-pop Demon Hunters.
Whoa.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I saw it relatively recently.
Yeah.
Look, I know there's something a little silly about a grown man talking about how much he liked,
Not at all.
an animated, for children kind of pop musical. It's awesome.
Yeah.
The music, first and foremost, is like real pop sensible, catchy ass tunes in a way that's like, I have a lot of respect for Disney musicals. They always kind of feel like music theater. Mm-hmm. And that like, if a song from Aladdin came on the radio, you'd be like, oh, fun. They're playing Disney stuff, I guess, for a minute. Whereas like a handful of songs from K-pop Demon Hunters, if they just came on the radio, you'd be like, yeah, this is catchy. I don't know this artist. It's awesome. The visual styling is gorgeous. It's so beautiful. Like, especially poignant for me is just like some of the scenes that take place in like the demon realm, this big altar and the flame and like the hats that they wear and stuff. I'm just like, oh my God, I loved it. It's also really funny and a really sweet, sincere story about 3 badass young women.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, probably not the first to say it's awesome. I think in general, making my top 10 list, I was surprised like how many movies I saw that I was like, I don't want this to be on my top 10. I had an issue with it or I didn't like something about it. So because of that, movies like K-pop Demon Hunters really, really popped for me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, I think it was a great movie. It took me like almost the whole year before I finally got around to watching it. Yeah. So great addition to the list, I think. It really is. I think if people are not putting it on their list, they're lying to themselves.
Yeah,
which is like me, because like at the end of the day,
come on.
it hit a zeitgeist moment. For, like everything you said, like the songs were really good. Yeah. The animation is really good. Like everyone was talking about it for weeks, and they're like, this has no right to be as good as it is.
And you can put Golden on at a 5-year-old's birthday party, and they're all going to freak out.
This is the new Let It Go.
Yeah, but I think it's
like
cooler.
All the kids are like singing. Yeah, no,
but it's way cooler.
Much cooler. Yeah. At the very least, I heard that I think I listened to a podcast with the 2 co-writers. They're 2 young female co-writers that wrote this movie. Yeah. They were trying so hard to get this movie like off the ground. They came in as like apparently Sony had been trying to get this movie off the ground, and they didn't have like any like real script written. Yeah. And these girls were like trying to sell their own scripts, and they kind of came on for hire for this thing that had been like in the making for like 5 years, and I think like really developed this thing. They didn't know too much about K-pop, and then got fully engrossed, and now they're like full on like K-pop stands. They have their favorites or whatever, so I think that's what's really great about it, is like it understands this genre of music, as well as just, for me, understands girls being girls. I've always hated sometimes the way women are written on films, especially like in action films, where my experience is like, they're not like, girls are silly. Girls are funny. And in action films, they're always like so serious. They're written like men. It's very different. I'm like, like they never pass the Bechdel test. And when they do, it doesn't like, they're not silly, or they don't have any fun. They're not. And I'm like, and this is the opposite of that. This is the best girls being girls like movie.
Like Huntrix are hunters.
Yeah.
They have weaponry, and they're awesome. Yeah. They also love to eat.
Yes.
They also like couch time, right? And like value their downtime. Like it's like very reasonable.
They felt like
it's real people
in a real girl group, and like everything about it was
it's like things that you won't find in
great friends.
In Frozen.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's I also love this. It didn't make my list, but I'm glad it made it on yours. So that
can we even call it an honorable mention for you?
It didn't make my honorable mentions list. Wow. I didn't put it on there.
No justice for K-pop Demon Hunters.
But I am still glad that we could talk about it. I mean, listen, the other movies were just so good this year.
Okay.
Here's the thing. it didn't connect with me because it is still a kids movie at the end, right? And I love the themes and I love what it's exploring, but it didn't like give me like that cathartic kind of thing that I would have loved to have felt, that which has happened in certain kids movies.
Sure,
you know,
I do think that's valid. It's maybe other people felt that way. That's cool. I didn't have like an Up or Finding Nemo kind of like out of body experience at the end of the movie or anything like that. I thought it was sweet. I thought it was very, very, very cute. But yeah, I wasn't like weeping or anything like that.
Yeah. And it doesn't like, even though Sony does this with Into the Spider-Verse and whatever, like the animation it's the same kind of teams that do this and brought this to K-pop, I believe. Into the Spider-Verse had like changed the game when it comes to like animation.
Yes,
right.
Totally.
And, this is just, flying by that as well, but also like doesn't hit me as hard as like say Into the Spider-Verse, where I'm like, oh, this really hits me. It's like,
I agree.
For adults and kids,
Totally.
So,
Having said that,
yeah,
I believe that your number 9 is higher up on my list.
Yes.
Does that mean we can go to number 8?
We can go to number 8. Yeah. So number 9 is higher up on your list. So we'll talk about it later, but so we'll go to number 8. My number 8 is 28 Years Later.
Yeah.
So, did you even get to see this movie? By the way, if it is an honorable, I'll cut this out.
It is not an honorable mention.
If it is an honorable mention, you can say like this was an honorable mention. Or something.
No. What happened? So I've seen 28 Days Later a handful of times, and when 28 Years Later came out, I was like, shit, I need to watch 28 Weeks Later, and then
You don't need to.
And then I did. I did watch 28 Weeks Later, and was like, and I don't really want to see 28 Years Later. But I'm excited. If you say, depending on what you say right now, I'll probably go watch it tonight or something.
I think that 28 Years Later, again, I'm not like a horror guy, but this is different from both 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, and also from like other zombie movies or zombie shows, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I feel like we've almost tapped the market when it comes to zombie medias, right? We get it. The Last of Us has shown us like, okay, so the real monsters are the humans. Like we get it, right? There's a whole lot of things. We say the same things all the time, right? This somehow manages to fit fully into like what it started with and why why 28 Days Later was so good.
Yeah.
While also again showing why the zombie film can still just show us a lot more than I take for granted. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like there's still enough to say. There's still something you can do, right? They not only tried to shoot this in a way, which again, this is just filmmaking, which is why it's on my list, right? They didn't say like, oh, let's just do what we did before. Let's try and do this with the same limitations that we had, but make it updated for the time, right?
Yeah.
So they used iPhones to shoot this, right? They used GoPros. They used a bunch of different like techniques. It felt like Danny Boyle was getting back down to his like grassroots, guerrilla filmmaking mode. Yeah. Alex Garland is back again, like I said, like writing this trilogy, which is it's going to be. We get the Bone Temple here in I believe a couple of weeks.
If it hasn't even come out already, but yeah,
and
I can't wait to see it.
I'm really looking forward to.
I guess I probably need to see 28 Years Later before I see the Bone Temple.
You do need to. This will be more of a continuation.
They are actually very much talking to each other.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. The 28 Years Later is a start of basically a new trilogy.
Okay.
Right?
Gotcha.
But it's a different film. Like you don't necessarily have to have seen the other ones for this to work, right? Like you're not seeing the same characters. I will say there's rumors that Cillian Murphy will come back for the later movies. I don't know if he's in Bone Temple. I don't know if he's in the third movie. They haven't made the third movie. They're not going to until they see how well this one, the Bone Temple does. But that's the only like right now possible connection. But at this point, 28 years later, you didn't need to watch those, right? And so I feel like they were like, okay, what more can we do with this franchise and with these zombie stories? And it does new things. It introduces new zombie elements, which is just a lot of fun. Yeah. And then it just tells a great coming of age story.
Yeah.
This is about a kid who like is trying to save his mother. And Jodie Comer does an amazing job.
I didn't know she was in. Fuck, I love her.
Yeah, Ralph Fiennes is in this, and he's doing an amazing job. Some of you are going to see it. I'm working on like my end of the year like montage, which I tried once last year, and I'm trying again this year. And there's some quotes that I won't spoil from this movie that I just knew just had to be in here, and they all come from like Ralph Fiennes. There's just this amazing look at how we look at death and this, what's happening in the world, and how we can and remember others that have passed and stuff. And it's very, very interesting. And I loved it. I thought it was like surprisingly one of the most beautiful films of the year. I didn't expect it going into 28 years later, especially if you'd seen 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
Shot on a DV cam. It's known for its cinematography only because it's known for being shot on a DV cam, but not necessarily for like these amazing, beautiful shots. This is beautiful. Yeah. How they decided to shoot it, how they decided to present the world, and this inner thing that this journey that this kid is going on is just so beautiful. Yeah. One of the better child actors. I have very strong opinions about child actors, but there are some really good performances this year. I'll get to more that make me feel like I need to stop having as big opinions on child actors. But I think this one, he does this fine. This kid was a great find. And I believe he's going to be continuing on in the second movie.
Cool.
And he's getting a lot of good stuff. But yeah, this journey, this coming of age story, it was just great. And I can't wait to see what happens with the Bone Temple. I think this is just a very beautiful film, very beautiful message. And I think more people should watch it.
Hell yeah.
That was my number 8. What is your number 8?
My number 8 is Weapons.
Okay.
Yeah. Horror movie. So I'm guessing you probably didn't watch it.
I did watch it.
You
Yeah.
did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I actually ranked this pretty high. In terms of movies that I really liked at the time. This almost made my honorable mentions list. Like I think it's like a 4-star somewhere. But I had a lot of
I think it's really solid. I will say just off the bat, the ending wasn't quite perfectly satisfying for me.
Yeah.
I had so much fun during the movie, and I think that there's so much cool stuff about it. I still liked it a lot.
Yeah.
At its core, we got a story about a witch coming to town or something, and it's super creepy and weird in a million different ways. I think my favorite thing about the movie is that, like, in a lot of ways, it's an actor's movie. The way it's structured is this kind of small period of time, maybe 48 hours or 72 hours, but you kind of replay it from various different characters' perspectives. And there are some incredible performances. I mean, like Josh Brolin and Julia Garner are fantastic as always, and they're a fun duo when they, spoiler alerts, when they end up teaming up towards the end of the movie. But like I had to write down because I hadn't seen some of these folks before, and they're fantastic. I really liked the homeless guy is Alden Ehrenreich.
No, Alden Ehrenreich is the cop.
Oh, he's the cop.
Yes.
Yeah, he was great. I have seen him before. But then Austin Abrams is the homeless guy. Oh my God. Such good performances. And it's so cool that like Zach Krager was like, yeah, I'm going to give them each like 20 minutes of like just their whole day screen time. The ending also definitely left me wanting to know more about the character at the middle of it all. I'm sure we'll get a second movie. It seems. Will
we?
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, she gets torn up at the end.
I mean, come on, dude. We love origin stories of horror movie villains. Are you serious?
I see. Possibly.
That's what every franchise does.
Wasn't she? She was nominated.
I don't know.
Did she win? She was nominated for the Critics' Choice, supporting actress.
She's really good. Very unsettling.
Yeah.
Also, that makeup design is insane. But yeah, I liked Weapons. It was cool.
Yeah, I thought this was for me just like a strangely beautiful film. When it comes to these kinds of films and this kind of horror, they're always very hit or miss for me, because I think this got compared to, say, like Longlegs a lot in its tone and its style of filming, and I hated Longlegs, but I actually liked it here better. I don't know if it's because of the way that Zach Kreger did it.
I think that's probably some of it. I also think that like I liked Longlegs less. I think Longlegs takes itself really seriously.
Yeah.
I think Weapons has a bit more of a sense of humor.
Yeah. I mean, this one, it's this, because what I didn't like about Longlegs is I didn't know what kind of movie I was in, right? I didn't understand the rules of what I was following. And it's the same thing here, because that's the whole point, is like the mystery of like, what are we dealing with here? Like, why is this happening? And I guess maybe that's why, it's because we are saying like it's a mystery, but he still sets some rules and he follows those throughout. Yeah. I mean, besides a few dream sequence things where I'm like, was that part of the thing? I don't know, but I still think for the most part, he sets it and he sticks to it, even though I don't even know if he knew exactly when he said when he was writing it, he didn't know what he was, where he sets the mystery and then he tries to figure out along the way,
totally.
Which is a very interesting way to do it. But in the meantime, you get, like you said, these great actor performances, the way that this event is destroying this town from like the inside out, and these certain characters, like all of their things that they're trying to do or escape from or whatever, like suddenly it brings out the worst in people and the best in people. It's like, it's interesting, like character dynamics in the middle of all this. And then you got this mystery, this kind of horror film thing, like in the background, which I think is like where it really stands apart.
I also will say, just more generally, like Zach Kreger, man, going from
Barbarian and then,
but it started out though as a member of the sketch comedy group, The Whitest Kids You Know, and now has made two of the most seminal horror movies of the last decade. Yeah, I mean, very cool.
Yeah, with some top tier actors, Yeah. So, he's hitting something for sure. Yeah, I also was disappointed with the ending, which is why this one didn't make my list. I think at the end of the day, it didn't wrap itself up in a satisfying way for me, where I'm like, okay, so what was for me like kind of the point of the journey? The journey's fun, but like I
think this is a good time for me to say like my 2 cents about what 2025 meant to me in movies. Yeah. Because I don't disagree with you. Yeah. I think that like the ending didn't quite do it for me either. But as I was making my list, I was realizing that like I don't do Letterboxd. I probably should. Yeah. But like in trying to find 10 movies, I was like, I don't have 10 like 5-star or 4.5-star movies or whatever, your 12 were. I was like, my list is like not that strong this year. And not because there aren't some incredible movies on it. Like we're only on number 8. We're going to get to some real heavy hitters later for sure. But like the first 4 or 5 slots on my list, I had to reach, I think, because there was stuff that I enjoyed in the theater, stuff that I thought was good or fun or whatever, but it didn't feel like just an absolute banger of a year for me. I don't know what you thought about the year in cinema.
I think that, I don't know what it is, but I think this is a better year than most. I actually had more movies, either as being more generous. Sure. But I actually do keep not only a letterbox, but I keep a spreadsheet. Yeah. Because I also want to include things, TV shows that I've watched, or books or things that I've been reading, because I will forget if I don't write them all down. Especially when it comes to the end of the year. And my 4-star and above was kind of off the charts. Like I had plenty to choose from. Sure. Either I was being more generous than previous years, or I think it was just like overall a more solid year for films and television shows. That said, I don't know that I came away like remembering everything. Like I watched it, I rated it, and then like it was a good, some of these like are technically very good. The filmmaking is very good. I enjoyed the journey while I was there. Still, I maybe didn't stick with me. Yeah. Some stick with me and some don't. For sure. A movie that's on my list and on everyone else's lists. I'm sorry, not on my list, but is on everyone else's list. And you can say later or not if it is on yours, but One Battle After Another is not on my list. Great film. Sure. I really enjoyed that. I think it's an important film. Everyone should watch. It's definitely an honorable mention. For sure. But it's not something that for me just stuck with me. You know, I don't know why. Right, a lot of films just didn't really kind of have that like lasting impact. I don't know if it's like our society and like maybe we have too much to watch, you know?
I mean, we do.
Yeah.
And also it's like, this is why it's your favorite films, not what you are predicting will be the most liked films of the year.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, interesting year for sure. I think, you know, not all of them. I think they're all like technically high, but there's not like a bunch that like rise to the top for me because of that. Right. I had to like go through and be like, well, what is the ones that, you know, maybe in that same, same vein
you're really thinking about still.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, what number was that? Actually, did I say mine?
So Weapons was my number 8.
And we did. Okay. So we're moving on to, those are our number 8.
Number 7.
We're moving on to number 7. My number 7 is F1, the movie.
Oh, one of my honorable mentions.
Yeah. I think that this one makes the list mostly on the technical filmmaking of it in general.
Yeah.
Right.
What's interesting is that I put it on my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I actually thought it wouldn't end up on your top 10 or honorable mentions because I know how passionate you are about F1. And I feel like over the summer when we were, you know, hanging out doing podcasting about Foundation, I feel like your take on it was like, it's a solid movie, but it's not a good F1 movie. And I was kind of like, oh no, as someone who doesn't know F1, I was like, I thought it was a pretty great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that exactly what you just said, right? If you want to hear my full thoughts on this movie, there is a whole podcast episode that you can go listen to where I talked with my friend about that.
Okay.
And so we talked about F1. It is a great film, not a great F1 film. And I think that's where I took like getting to the end of the year, having also finished the season on a high for me of the F1 season.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that Lando Norris got his world championship. Just overall super glad with like how the season turned out. It was a crazy season. Honestly, it's one of the best seasons we've had in a while.
Okay.
And the thing about it though is that this movie did bring people to F1.
Yeah.
This movie got so many people interested in the sport, which I think is honestly a tremendously great sport. Does it have problems? Yeah. It's got a lot of problems.
Yeah. One
of them being the fact that there's only ever been one black driver in F1 and it's a very rich versus poor kind of sport. Like it's how much money you have to spend. And it's a very interesting kind of sport. But I think as the pinnacle of motorsport, it's amazing as like from an athletic perspective. Anyway, I'm here to talk about the movie, which is not really about that. This movie is, the more and more I thought about it, I was like, this is just a Western in disguise. This is basically like the man with no name comes into town to help out the sheriff, you know, to defeat the
tired old hand comes back to town to help the new sheriff with the big bad.
Yeah, or something like that. And and then goes off and goes on his way. And there's no you know, the main character is the man with no name, essentially. And I'm using that term and very generalized. It's not a Fistful of Dollars trilogy, but it's in that vein where it's like, this is the main character, but there is no character here. Brad Pitt's just playing a guy who's good at something.
A guy who's just addicted to driving fast.
You know, he's got his past and his trauma and he's a mystery. You know, it's a very dad movie kind of style of character, you know. Again, very Western. Probably doesn't really learn anything by the end of the movie. I was going to say,
kind of Western, also like kind of classically masculine.
Yeah, that's what it is.
There's not a lot of growth between any of them.
But it works. If you think about it as a Western, right? Because at the end of the day, he's not the one that's supposed to change. It's supposed to be the team. It's supposed to be the other character. It's supposed to be, and it doesn't really.
Yeah, the stubborn old man shows up and tells everyone else how to do things better.
You know, and there's a glimpse of something. You know, there's a glimpse of like who he is now. He's gone through some like healing. He's gone through some like forgiveness, whatever it is, right?
Sure.
I don't know. It's fun. It's a story as old as time, I guess, that kind of gets thrown into this F1 movie, which is also takes on a very underdog sports movie, very formulaic also. So we're throwing tropes against the wall, and they work. It works for a reason.
Work. I mean, I will say this too, as someone who came to the movie knowing nothing about F1, I think the movie does two things really well.
And you still should know nothing about F1 because this is not F1.
but I think that like it like opened the idea of like, oh, it's not just driving well. It's like there's this whole design element to it. There's this whole matter of like how much money can you spend on a thing. There's this whole like strategy about like what are the technical rules of how rounds or like timing and pit stops work. Like that whole thing. I was like, oh, right. Of course, there's this whole world of strategy that I knew nothing about. That works really well. And then also, as someone who doesn't know anything about F1, I think as someone who has watched like literal F1 and NASCAR casually on ESPN 9 from time to time, it can be challenging to make cars going around a track, same thing as watching runners going around a track, engaging unless there's like very close. And for whatever reason, man, that movie had me on the edge of my seat. Like it was very engaging. Just it shot in a very, very like kind of hook you and get you into the stakes of the race. Yeah.
It's manufactured for sure. You know, it's got a little bit of a, hey, this is not how racing works. You know, at the end of the day, like F1 is a very complicated sport. As you said, it's a science competition first and foremost, a technical competition. And racing has also been kind of complicated in these new era of regulations where sometimes like one team is dominating because they got their car right and everyone else is just falling behind. And then it just becomes about tire management, which is the most boring way to talk about racing, you know? So this understands that, but then also is like, but then what if we make it exciting? You know, like what if we actually make it like, this is what we would want. This is honestly, if F1 wanted to elevate actual racing, they could maybe take some notes from this movie about like what would make it more exciting. Right. And that might mean changing a few rules. That might mean saying like, this is what's more allowed, you know, allowing people to maybe get creative, you know, and find ways to do new things that we haven't gotten to see before, you know, but as it is now, sometimes F1 can be some races are more boring than others. Right. But yeah, this movie is exciting. It's an exciting sports movie. It's an exciting Western, you know, and the racing I think is top tier and that's due in no part. That's not the right phrase. Due in no part to the, that feels like a double negative. Anyway, it's mostly due to the fact that they shot this. The technology is amazing. Like they built cars to specifications while also needing to find room. They worked with the Mercedes team engineers to find ways to put cameras onto a car so they could shoot these races for real. They have Damson Idris and Brad Pitt really driving cars. And you know, it's them like actually doing it. It's not just them like on the back of a pickup truck, you know, while they do some of these things. Like they are actually driving. Are they going as fast as like F1 at 200 miles per hour? Probably not. No. But this takes actual skill. Driving takes actual skill, and they're getting these real practical effects. And there's a lot of CGI, also unseen CGI to help put them into real races and stuff. But at the same time,
I mean, dude, our friend Kyle,
it's seamless.
Kyle, the short we produced, I mean, he was part of the Vegas camera crew for F1. And like the stories he got from that shooting down there, it's like they're literally allowed small, tiny camera crews, but still crews to come in and really film on, you know, was it tarmac or whatever? But like literally next to real cars to make it look good while there's a race going on with a stadium full of people suited up like they were members of, you know, the Tide Squad or whatever. I don't know. But like they had to wear costumes so that people wouldn't know there was a film crew filming during a real F1 race. It's like, that's awesome.
And as someone who loves racing movies, who my favorite thing is the pod race from like.
Oh man, we should. Side note, we should do a top 10 racing movies.
Yeah,
cast.
maybe. Like I just love things going fast. You know?
Dude, who doesn't?
And this is definitely, I think, one of the best racing things we've gotten in a long time.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, the last time we made a racing movie, to my knowledge, was like Days of Thunder. Which is like,
yeah. I mean,
was that 92 or
Ford
something?
v Ferrari was decent for what it was.
And there's also Ferrari.
Rush is really good.
There's Ferrari.
Ferrari was okay.
Yeah.
But that was like was that last year or the year before? But had some like egregious like CGI things where I'm like, okay, it's like
even then, those are like about like brand racing.
Yeah.
Is there other movies besides Days of Thunder that are about like, oh, I guess Jesus, they're Talladega Nights, but like I'm talking about either F1 or stock car racing. Cars, right? I forgot about Cars. Right. And then Cars 2.
Yeah, I mean, there are some good, decent things out there, but I think it's been overlooked a lot because it is hard to make this really exciting. I mean, Fast and Furious is another one of my favorite franchises. Like,
Still think we
it's
should
kind of
do-
stopped talking about racing and like started
They're
becoming like a different,
superheroes.
like it's a very different because there's only so much you can do. But I think having practical stunts helps.
Yeah.
And I think this one does everything as practically as possible. Yes, there is CGI.
Yeah.
But they're really driving these cars and they're really showcasing them on track and stuff. And I think that's makes for a really good racing movie.
Sure.
So yeah, that's why it ended up on my list. Not quite so high, but I think again, I feel like this was a cinematic experience that also could only really be experienced in the theater, and has made people like they're on a technical level. It was done really, really well, and is showcased on screen. Everything there is showcased on screen. And I think that's why it's like on my list, is because it's like it's a fun theatrical experience.
We might talk about it later too, but also just a smaller note. But I think the soundtrack's very good.
Soundtrack's pretty good.
And the score, both. But yeah.
I mean, it's Hans Zimmer. It wasn't my favorite soundtrack of the year,
Sure.
but it is really good. I mean, when it's going during these scenes and stuff, like you're in it.
It's in.
It definitely hits.
Yeah. You're in the
definitely hits.
cockpit.
Everything hits. Anyway, what is your number 7 movie of the year?
My number 7 is Friendship.
Oh.
Kind of I get a comedy ?
Yes.
Yeah, I love Tim Robinson.
Yeah.
I like Paul Rudd a lot too. It's a weird movie. It's really weird.
Very Tim Robinson,
Yeah,
I've heard. Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's very clearly, written for Tim Robinson. Like absolutely. But it feels different than watching an episode of I Think You Should Leave, because when you sit with someone who is as socially uncomfortable or selfish or stunted as like one of these Tim Robinson characters, it's fun for 2.5 minutes because it's so ridiculous. After an hour and a half, there's a very real darkness and sadness, I think. And the movie is funny and like meant to be silly, but also I think the movie is really saying something about male loneliness. And what selfish, socially incompetent men end up becoming eventually. And I think that's cool, right? And I think that like it really does feel like A24 made a dark comedy.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's cool. Because I went in expecting like 90 minutes of I Think You Should Leave, and by the end of the movie, I was like, "Ooh, man!" I laughed a lot, but also I kind of need a shower. But yeah, it's awesome. I mean, Paul Rudd's hilarious. Like, there's a couple scenes with Conor O'Malley, specifically one in a basement where Tim is just sitting on a drum set and Connor's got his Vietnam hat on, and the scene in the movie is amazing. There's also like 10 minutes of outtakes from that scene where they just let the two of them go. That in and itself is its own movie, and it's amazing. But yeah, I mean, you'll probably see by the end of this, but like, I'm all for people making comedies, especially when it's complicated too. And like, it's okay if the comedy doesn't have a happy ending. Without getting too much into what happens in friendship. But if you like Tim Robinson, very worth it. If you like kind of the, or like the, I guess the Nathan Fielder kind of awkward, uncomfortable sort of comedy, check it out. Also, there's again, I think there's just like a character study of what happens when a man reaches middle age and is kind of socially isolated, unfulfilled, and desperate for connection. Yeah. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, amazing. I never saw it, so I don't know much to say about it. But yeah, sure. Great pick for sure.
Cool.
Let's get to our number 6 then. So my number 6 is Wake Up, Dead Man.
Hell yeah, one of my honorable mentions.
Great, awesome.
I watched it very recently too.
Oh, cool.
This week.
So the thing is like this is hard because I love these films. Ryan Johnson, I've mentioned multiple times, my favorite director. It's hard for me to not like any of his movies. At the end of the day, like this is just a solid mystery and doesn't really do much new. It's almost like, I mean, we got this and Poker Face season 2 in the same year. And I'm like, it's just good. He's a great writer. And I had a lot of fun at the theater. I had to watch this at like an art house theater because it wasn't playing at like the big multiplexes for some reason, because Netflix, I guess. Yeah. And, with like 5 other people in the crowd, and you could tell like everyone like enjoyed it, in this small theater. But I just think that like it's just like one of those like, okay, perfect, no notes kind of thing. But then, and I probably wasn't going to make my top 10, but it is, I think, saying these movies end up being like so relevant. These Knives Out movies, right? Saying a lot about like this religious kind of turmoil that we're in nowadays, like what it's doing to people on the political spectrum and the trauma that we've also kind of gone through. Ryan Johnson has said this is kind of like dealing with his own like religious upbringing in a way, but also like shows, I think to me, like Josh O'Connor makes this movie great. Josh O'Connor,
he's incredible in this movie.
I don't even think about like the religion of it. He's just, again, to me, it's as someone who grew up Christian and grew up also with my religious background and has a belief in some of these things. I didn't grow up Catholic, but he's just talking about just these universal things.
I agree. I mean, I did grow up Catholic.
Yeah.
So as soon as I started watching the movie, the hair went up on my back because I was like, oh, am I going to fucking...
Yeah.
Because I think that like a lot of times when movies have like religious elements, it either rings like so like that's not how religious people talk.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
it's like that they don't do this at all, or it's like the opposite. It's like, oh, everyone's so pious and so perfect, and like and I think that this movie did the perfect thing. It was like this perfect balance of like his performance is rooted in a belief in like Christ and helping others and his duty, but also it's so human. He's just a dude who's looking for forgiveness for himself, and in doing so, wants to give it to as many other people as he can. And it's beautiful. Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, I mean, the movie tells you what it is, like at the very, very beginning, when he's like, oh, we should stop approaching people like this and approaching him like this. And I'm like, that's it. That's the movie. That's going to be the theme. And 100%. I love that you also got Benoit Blanc, where you don't know really much about him, but he's very much like, he's like, I believe in what I can see. Yeah. He's so like anti this. He's like, this is interesting. This is fun architecture, but like, it doesn't, I don't believe in any of it. It's also, like, it's such an interesting dichotomy where it doesn't beat you over the head with like what you should believe or whatever. It's just the difference between Josh O'Connor and Benoit Blanc here. And when he sees the moment where it was like Josh O'Connor gets that phone call, he's making the phone call with that lady, and they're trying to get this information, and then she's like, can I talk to you for a second? And he has to do the passerly thing, God. And even that, you're like, no, get on with the movie. No, just do the mystery, like, and you kind of feel with Benoit Blanc, but then you like get that little moment where he's like, he checks in on him after maybe 2 hours on the phone or something.
It's a while.
And you see like and Benoit Blanc sees what we see, which is just, as you said, a person trying their best and helping others in the best way that he can. And it was such a beautiful moment. It's in the film. And I love that juxtaposition, that dichotomy of like, totally. And like, what is this belief? And seeing like the truth in these things. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of themes that I feel like go into. I'm like, yeah, there's so much that you can get out of this beyond just a mystery.
The cast is so star-studded that it's almost silly to start talking about the performances. But I will say, I mean, Josh O'Connor anchors it. He's the reason the movie's great.
Yeah.
God, get him more work. Between that and Challengers alone, I'm like, this guy should work forever. He's amazing.
Yes.
But
he's going to be in a Spielberg thing next too, and I think that's going to be it.
Good.
That's But
also, Glenn Close is fucking amazing in this movie. I love her so much in this.
Josh Brolin, I think, does some of his best work too. He's kind of playing some sort of caricature, but it's also like, again, we talked about him in Weapons. Like Josh Brolin has disappeared in so many different characters. I forget that it's Josh Brolin.
He had a good fucking year, dude.
Yeah.
He had a real good year.
Yeah, he is interesting. Yeah, great performances. I think the ensemble cast gets less to do than they have in the past in the other Knives Out franchises.
Sure.
But I think it also works because this is really supposed to be about Josh O'Connor's character.
Yeah.
And also Glenn Close gets a lot, because she gets the ending moment of change and whatever.
For sure. I will also say, to your point earlier, when you were like, a lot of the Knives Out movies end up becoming not becoming about, but get to address very directly big hot button social issues or whatever. I love The Glass Onion. It's almost a little too on the nose. Whereas like this one, the balance is more reasonable for me.
This one felt like a return to form. I feel like if Glass Onion is going to be my least favorite, after Glass Onion, I was like, I don't know if I like this Netflix coming in and helping him make more of these. I guess they had him contracted for like maybe 5 movies or something. And I'm like, like if this is what it's going to be, I didn't like it. But I think this was like, okay, going back to like what Knives Out was good, right? Yeah. And I think Glass Onion just had too much of a Netflix sheen on it all. It was also very unfortunately shot during COVID. Like it was shot during like lockdown. So I think that also had a lot to do with some of that, right? That maybe it just came at a weird time, they had to address certain things that put in that time. I don't know. We could talk about Glass Onion too and the Knives Out trilogy and maybe relook at those on a deeper level when there's like 7 of these and like whether or not they matter,
that could be fun.
Who knows? But yeah, Wake Up Dead Man. Again, I think you'll see it in my montage later on. There's just these moments that I just like ring true and I just felt, and it's all anchored in Josh O'Connor's performance. Like he's a star and it really elevated this movie for me. But
Agreed.
what was your number 6 movie of the year?
My number 6 was Black Bag, which was your
my number 9.
Okay, cool.
Let me make sure I had that. Yeah, my number 9 movie was Black Bag. Yeah,
I loved it. I think it's like this is one of those movies that I don't think it's like again leaving you to think about the condition necessarily, but like the scope of the movie is about this big and it nails it. It's like it almost could have it's a movie about spies, lovers, and what it means to be fully honest and vulnerable, I think, in a relationship, and with a job that requires you to potentially be dishonest or to collect information. I think it's the sexiest movie of the year for me.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it's close. Yeah. I think that like I love Steven Soderbergh.
I mean,
because he's
Kate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender as a couple.
God. And also just like
everyone else should just give up, right?
Yeah,
like,
dude, that's it. And like not only the two of them,
yes,
but like Soderbergh just knows how to make sexy.
Yes.
Like, have you seen Ocean's 11?
Yes.
Have you seen Out of Sight? It's just like, oh my God, dude, these unbelievably sexy glossy shots, even of their kitchen with the big glass wall and like the marble like island. I'm just like, ugh. Yeah. I just want to live in this world. It's so everything's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I loved it. Also, it's a movie about spies, espionage, warfare, weapons, bombing. I think there's one explosion and one gunshot in the entire movie, and the rest is just dialogue. It could almost be a play.
It's like a theater. Yeah.
It literally could be a play. It's so strong. Also, Kate Blanchett's the hottest thing on 2 feet in that movie. It's like unbelievable. Fassbender, a beautiful man. He's like almost on the spectrum and like a very, very reserved kind of let the camera come to me kind of performance in a way that I think is really cool.
I think, but that's the thing with Fassbender is like, good looking guy for sure. I mean, there's just a presence Fassbender has always had. For me, I think the first performance I ever remember seeing him in was Shame, way back in the day. And that was the first time I was like intimidated by a performance.
Yeah.
Not by an actor or a person. It was just the performance was so fucking good.
Stupid good.
So amazing good. And he does that with everything he does. Also, race car driver. He's participated in Le Mans and stuff. Like he's like, he does movies so he can race, which is my favorite kind of like actor. I love Paul Newman. I love Michael Fassbender. Like these, there's some really good.
I was about to tell you one another of your favorites.
Frankie Muniz is
I was about to say Paul Walker, but
Paul Walker. Well, he wasn't driving the car.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
If I remember correctly,
I mean, I'm going to yield to you on Fast and the Furious always.
It was his friend's car that they were driving away from an event, and the friend was driving. And I will not blame Paul Walker for that. Okay. Bullshit. Unfortunately.
But Black Bag, awesome movie.
Like, yeah, you're right. I think sexiest movie of the year for sure. This one is a little lower on my list. Mostly because it's just a solid film. Yeah. But like I didn't come away with, again, like there was no, like I said before, like major like blown away moment or something. I was like, this is just like solid filmmaking, you know? But I had to include it because people don't make films like this anymore. And I think I wrote in my review, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if they showed me behind the scenes. They're like, yeah, we just sat down and over 10 days, we just shot this film. Like, cause it looks like the most micro budget, like he's just so good. Soderbergh is so good at like knowing what he wants and how to do it that he doesn't need to take any time. A lot of this doesn't look like it's amazing dressed, like set up. Like it looks beautiful, like you said, but it's just because like, just do this thing, put it in here, make these performances count. He knows exactly where he wants the camera to be. He just gets it and they're done. Yeah, and they're done. And it's like everyone seemed like they had fun while they're doing it. Yeah, and it's tightly edited and like you said, the stakes are small, but they're big for what it is. Yep. We need more films like that, I think.
Strong agree, dude. This is why I think I bumped it up on the list. Yeah. Because I agree, like, there's nothing about it at the end that's going to make you think about the condition. Yeah. There's no moment where you're going to get choked up and cry. You're not going to laugh out of your seat. It's just like solid, good fucking filmmaking. Mm-hmm. And I wish we made more movies like that. I feel like we used to. Mm-hmm. And now everything has to either be rip your heart out, Oscar worthy, the dumbest, funniest thing you've ever seen,
high stakes,
or this big
world
IP.
Versus,
Exactly. And I'm like, man, it's okay if the scope of your movie is small, if it's still really good. So I love that for it. But I agree. It's not going to get nominated for Oscars or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, it's awesome.
So that's your number 6, my number 8, my number 9. Great film. Yeah. Let's move on to our number 5 movie of the year. Halfway through.
Here we go.
What was your number 5?
My number 5 is Predator: Badlands.
Nice.
I loved this movie. Mm-hmm. I absolutely loved it. Mm-hmm. And look, first of all, I should come clean. I love the Predator franchise. I think the original Predator is like one of the greatest action movies of all time. Mm-hmm. I think that there's some misses after that.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that Prey is an incredible movie.
It was
But I think Prey is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Predator: Badlands, same director. Mm-hmm. And man, I went in going like, whatever, it's another Predator movie. It's probably going to be garbaggio. Mm-hmm. This movie is very D&D coded in a beautiful way. And it's also so lovely that we've had movies about the Predator for 30, 40 years. And we're finally getting backstory and understanding where predators come from, why they hunt, what their universe is, their culture, their society.
I mean, clearly you haven't seen the Alien versus Predator movies, because I think it goes into some lore.
I've seen AVP many times.
I think there's some lore in there.
We get.
I think they change a lot of it. I
think we get a temple.
This is our first time going to
where they hunt xenomorphs.
Yeah, this is the first time we go to their planets, so to speak.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's funny.
Actually, not the first time. If you watch Predator Killer of Killers, we get to see it before.
A movie that might pop up later for me. But yeah, I loved it. I think it's like, it feels like it knows its audience, right? That like, if you want to go see a Predator movie, you're probably interested in like other universes, magical, mythical beasts, planets where there are fields where the grass is made of glass or, razor blades and stuff like that. It's just so much fun. And ultimately, it's also the story of an underdog. Yeah. Which is really, really fun. Yeah. I love this movie.
Yeah. It didn't make my top 10, but I also love this movie. I think Dan Trachtenberg has been someone that I've been following since the Totally Rad show. And so I pretty much will, I am supporter of his, and like I will follow him kind of anywhere kind of thing. But Prey was amazing, but I was also kind of like, okay, lightning in a bottle. Can he keep, like, does he want to keep playing in Predator land? Like, do we need more Predator stuff? But at the same time, this is how the world of Hollywood is going, right? You need IP, you need to do something. Yep. And I feel like he finds a way to be like, okay, well, let's tell an actual like story that we love telling and just put it in the Predator universe, and that included making the Predator the main character this time around, really fun performances, really great action, so much fun moments. I mean, the ending climax with the pants or the bottom half like of Elle Fanning. Also the going from this to Sentimental Value in the same year. But yeah, she's fighting on two fronts, like top half and bottom half. Just such fun.
It's awesome.
Action, some fun.
Right. Or like classically the Predator has his little like, aimer thing, and then he doesn't get a lot of his gear. You said, having like the little dragon dude that shoots. I'm like,
you said D&D coded. This was like the setup of a video game. Like the very beginning, he shows up.
Same sort of thing.
He gives you like the very beginning of the movie where it's like, here's all the good technology and the things, but then he has to lose it. And then now he has to work with what he has. And so it's almost like he has to level up to get back to where.
I mean, this is like the video game coded is almost the same thing as D&D coded, right? It's like Elle Fanning is like the kind of like robot C-3PO there to tell you how the things work.
The tutorial
but
thing.
Like can't actually help you as much as they normally would because they are, injured or malfunctioning, right? And then like as he moves through the planet, he learns a special or dangerous thing about each thing, and then there's a final fight where he gets to implement all of that, right? To me, that's like very D&D, like dungeon crawl, and you pick up pieces along the way, you become more powerful, and then you can fight the boss.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
I had to look back at like why this didn't make my top 10. I had to look back at my review.
Because you're a hater.
It was mostly because like, I don't know why, but I walked into this movie like super distracted. And unfortunately, I think this colored the way that I thought about the film, because at the end of the day, it is like a lot of CGI stuff to kind of where it becomes like, okay, there's action happening and it's fun action, but it is like a CGI. It doesn't really, it didn't control my attention. Right. And I think Dan Trachtenberg did a really good job directing this film. Yeah. But there just wasn't enough there to get past like some of the CGI-ness of it. But that said, it's such a great movie. Like it's a really solid film. And again, you wouldn't get this in like a Predator thing. And I think he's doing some really fun stuff with IP that you don't get directors like often doing. He's always trying to tell you something new. He's always trying to give you some elements that you haven't seen before. He's also expanding on the lore in ways that you never thought about. And I thought it was like a lot of fun.
Here's the reason too why it's pretty high up on my list. Out of all my top 10 and honorable mentions, it's one of the only movies that I'm like, I would watch it again right now. Like it's fun, it's silly, it's funny. I found the action pretty engaging. And it's like a lot of the other movies that I was like looking at, I'm like, once I had seen it, I was like, I don't know if I need to see it again, or like I would watch it again with if someone else hadn't seen it. Okay, I would do it. Whereas like that movie, I would put on anytime. It's just easy, fun, digestible. But yeah.
Yeah. I think the ending of that film is where it becomes like, oh, I want to see more.
Yeah.
I think it's like one of the like most perfect endings like that you can do in this kind of thing. It's like it really sticks to landing, you know, and it also leaves you like wanting more.
Yeah.
Right. Because now this has become like this isn't like Predator at all, but it's become its own new kind of thing. And I say I want to see more from these characters.
I very much agree. If you're listening, please make some more.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So my number 5 is another amazing act. No, just kidding. A little bit more grounded on this earth, but it's called The Long Walk. This is one of those films where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people came away liking this movie or enjoying it, or maybe the metaphor is like too on the nose or something. Or maybe it's because it's based off of a book by Stephen King that is, you know, works well in book form, maybe doesn't work so well in a movie form, or we've seen it before, we've known about it for like years and we've already know how this kind of ends. There's something about that. I don't know. But I think that at the end of the day, this movie, I think just hit me on a level that I mean, I'd never read the book and I kind of didn't know what to expect. I think it is really hard to make a movie about people walking and talking the entire time. This is Aaron Sorkin's wet dream, by the way. But they find a way to, you know, give you like this 3-act structure of something. And I feel like you kind of get the point halfway through.
Yeah.
But again, just like a war film in warfare earlier on, like it doesn't make it any less brutal when these things happen. You know, these are still boys. Essentially, this ends up being kind of like a metaphor for capitalism, a metaphor for war, a metaphor for like so many different things.
Yeah.
And I think putting it in a young adult adaptation, kind of placing it around these like kids from a certain age, again, makes it very much, I think, why I like war films.
Sure.
Where it becomes that kind of thing for me, where I'm like, it's just, you have to go through it. You have to trudge through the thing. And it's a movie about friendship. It's a movie about like, is it where like they go through, like it's a competition, but then they're like, do I make friends with these people that I want to beat and also survive? And they might be dead by the end of this. Like, why would I do that? But then is that not part of life? You know, is it worth it? Kind of thing. That's where I'm like, this can hit me on so many different levels on like, is friendship worth it? Is going through this life worth it? You know, when we have the weight of capitalism on us, like every day, like where do we find the light in those kinds of things? You know, when we're forced to, you know, I think that like just approaching it from that kind of level, this movie made me think a lot, you know, while I'm watching it. Totally. And the performances, oh my God, some of the best young actors. David Johnson, which you probably saw in last in Alien Romulus as the android or whatever they call him. And I love him in Industry. I love him in Alien Romulus. I love him here. He's doing some amazing, amazing performances. And again, one of those guys that comes on screen and he immediately steals the show. From Cooper Hoffman, who is also one of those guys. Yeah. Putting these two together and putting their friendship on screen and how like the journey that they both go through, like you're rooting for both of these guys from the moment they step on screen, you know, and not knowing like how this is going to end. I just thought it was like a beautiful, beautiful film. And it goes through like some highs and lows and it's tragic. But there's moments of beauty in it. And I just loved it. Yeah. I just really, really like this film. And, you know, it might be predictable. You might get the gist of it. And it's not easy to rewatch. You know, it's not like I want to go through like a, you know, a huge, it's tragedy over and over. It's just like, these people, they're all going to die. Like, what's the point, right? But that's also kind of the beauty of the movie, you know? It asks these questions while it's doing it, you know? It's, and Mark Hamill's having some fun.
I didn't know Mark Hamill was in it.
Yeah, he plays the
I didn't
general.
see it.
You know the premise of the movie, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. So I didn't see it on purpose. I like heard about it and I was like, oh, this sounds like an annoying gimmick kind of thing. And I was like, this old Stephen King thing that he probably wrote with, 6 bags of cocaine inside him or whatever. I was like, ugh. Hearing you talk about it, I'm like, maybe I should see it. I don't know. Yeah. But like the idea and the premise repelled me a little, kept me away, where I was like, I don't think I want that. Yeah. It feels like a one note idea, it doesn't really elevate it beyond, right? Like Hunger Games is one thing, but at least Suzanne Collins did a really great job with like the subsequent books to be like, okay, there's the Hunger Games, and now there's this, right? And then it becomes about revolution. Then it becomes about things. And this overall is like ends up being like a tragedy, right? When it comes to like young adult novels and stuff, which I think I bring that up because this is the same director who did the later Hunger Game movies, right? I believe. I don't know.
Is either that or Maze Runner, but I think he did the.
Similar
I think
vibes,
he did the Hunger Games. Francis Lawrence, right? Yeah, he did the Hunger Games, and so you're dealing with, you're in the same category or the same kind of style of movie, where this is one of those things where it's hard to. It just the premise is like, yeah, that's the idea. They set out the rules and they say it at the beginning and you know what you're in for. You're just in watching kids walk until a lot of them get shot, right? And like there can only be one. I was like, that doesn't seem fun. That seems like again, maybe great for a short story, which I think this was. I don't know if it was a full novel, but it was, I think, a short story. And like, yeah, it's hard. How do you make this like runtime, like 2 hours or whatever it is,
Yeah.
But I think that they do enough. I think the director did do enough, and I wasn't sure going into it. I was like, I'm probably gonna get the gist of this. It's just an idea and like, what's the point? Yeah. But I was surprised by the end of it that I'm still like watching. They still found ways to put me at the edge of my seat. They still found ways to like keep me engaged throughout the entire movie. And again, putting it's also like a showcase for a lot of these young actors, that are probably going to go on to do really great things. Like this is an experience that even as an actor and as filmmakers, you probably don't get often, And I think that was, I think it was just, again, like I said, really beautiful. Yeah. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So yeah, that's our number 5s.
We are halfway through.
So yes, Morgan, what is your number 4 movie?
My number 4 movie of 2025 is the reboot of Naked Gun.
Wow. Not surprised.
I think it's incredible. You mentioned it earlier. Yeah. I was trying to be coy about it. I am obsessed with this movie. First of all, I guess Akiva wrote, directed, of Lonely Island fame. He knows how to make funny movies.
Should have known that this was going to be good when he.
It's a fucking home run. It's similar to maybe like 30 Rock or something where like the density of jokes is so high that like you will be laughing at something so hard that you will miss 3 jokes, and when you go back and watch it, you'll notice stuff. I've seen it 3 times now. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. Also, just if you're skeptical about it, hey, why did we remake this movie? Turns out making a movie where essentially the central joke is cops are all fucking idiots, it's pretty timely. Pretty good time to make a movie like that. Pretty great, poking holes in fun at how absolutely incompetent our law enforcement is. Yeah. Very timely. Also, holy cow, the cast. Like, Liam Neeson is perfect. Like, just pitch perfect. It is. I am so grateful that someone with like the dramatic prowess of him is also able to like laugh at himself enough to take something like this on. Mm-hmm. He's incredible. Mm-hmm. Bringing in Pamela Anderson to be the, femme fatale is like unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And then like, dude, the movie's got everything. There's prop comedy. There's like puns. There's like the classic Leslie Nielsen like misinformation, like what's the malapropism kind of comedy where he's mistaking what you're saying as something much more literal or having a second meaning.
Very fun.
There's also, true to the originals, like these weird sexual innuendos a couple times that are very, very silly and fun. But yeah, it is awesome. Also, it's on my list because we don't really make comedy anymore. I don't know why.
It's really hard, I think, nowadays to do comedy, especially like this, right? You don't get these kinds of
no, we don't. I mean,
films anymore. And I think getting the Lonely Island guys who like understand like you need so many jokes and so many different things, but they're also like very tightly written, I think, too. They're not just improv kind of things, which I feel like were like the comedies of a certain time, the 2000s or whatever, was the Paul, is it, what's his name?
Judd Apatow?
Judd Apatow. The Judd Apatow is very improv based, where they might be like written, but it's more like concept. They let the actors kind of do these things. Whereas like that was a very specific time. Whereas like these kind of do that, but also like are tightly written. Like they get writers to do these as well, you know, not just actors to,
it is, I agree. It's very tight. So yeah, I would say laugh out loud funny. The density of jokes is amazing. It's a good time to be fucking laughing at cops, and the cast is amazing. It's great. I would say you got to see it. I went in. I mean, look, I have an AMC pass, so I'll go see almost anything. I went in with the bar so low and was so pleasantly surprised at how funny it was. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that on many lists, so I'm glad I expected you to include it here because of how much you loved it before.
Yeah, I go hard for that movie.
Never got around to going to the theater to see it.
Oh, you got to see it.
I do need to watch it on home video. Maybe I'll like it as well. Comedy, again, is like one of those things where like I'm very specific when it comes to like comedy, you know. My favorite things that I've been watching, my comedy is Shrinking. Have you seen Shrinking on Apple TV?
No.
Harrison Ford is the funniest guy on
I like Jason Segel a lot.
I think that was like, it's heartfelt and funny, and it's such a good show. I'm like obsessed with that show. Okay. You know,
I gotta watch it.
Comedy can be, again, just like horror, like hit or miss for me. Like the humor, I've tried to watch the Tim Robinson stuff.
Yeah. Chair Company.
Not for me. Chair Company was not for me.
Yeah.
Just couldn't. It wasn't. To me, it's not funny. You know. So it's like it's not my kind of comedy. Yeah. I like what he does though. Yeah. I think it's hilarious what he does. To be completely fair, like I think it's funny, but I just don't. I don't laugh at it.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
I think. I mean, Tim Robinson more than anybody. I think is like a good example of like a flavor that's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not universal.
Yeah. But I do love the Lonely Island crew, and I feel like I would love Naked Gun. I really should have gone to see it.
Yeah, I would say see it, but also like if you can, do your best to see it with other people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, well that's your number 4. My number 4 is Train Dreams.
Okay, before you get into it, full disclosure, that was another one of the ones that I really wanted to see, and I didn't get to it. There was a chance I watched it this week. Ended up watching a couple other things. Man, I'm bummed out. I can't weigh in on this.
Yeah. I know I keep saying this, so I sound like a broken record. But have you read Ecclesiastes, a book from the Bible?
No, I won't. I'm familiar with it.
You're familiar with
growing up Catholic.
You're familiar with there's a time for war, there's a time for peace.
Yeah.
That's where you get. For me, Ecclesiastes is my favorite book of the Bible. It talks so much about like we are made from dust, we return to dust. You know, life is but like a whisper or dust, or however you want to translate that. You know, it's just it's on the wind. You know, there's a lot of phrases in Ecclesiastes where it's like life is meaningless. I've seen people work hard and get nothing from it. I've seen people not work hard and they like get rich or whatever, you know, like it's about the unfairness of life. It's the most human book of the Bible. And to me, this is Ecclesiastes in a visual form.
Cool.
This is the life of a man where things happen, and there's tragic things that happen. It's a tragedy, in a way, but there's also beauty in it. And it becomes like this kind of weird highs and lows of life kind of thing where it's like, it's just beautiful and amazing to watch. And it feels like so unfair at times, but then it feels also very, very relatable. It's beautifully shot, beautifully written. I think it is based off of a book as well. And I don't know how much maybe Ecclesiastes or something had on the original author. The narration is beautiful. The music is beautiful. I think everything comes together to just make this beautiful portrait of a life lived.
Cool.
And I think Joel Edgerton does some of his best work. I've already been a fan of Joel Edgerton for a while. I saw Dark Matter. I think I mentioned it on the podcast before on Apple TV, where I think he is like this generation's like Harrison Ford in the way that he does things. I don't know what it is about him, but I think he's so solid in everything he does, but no one talks about him. He just comes in, does an amazing performance, and it just moves on,
Yeah.
He is, and this gives him a chance to really do what he does best, but also becomes like a showcase for who he is as an actor.
Cool.
And what he brings to a thing. And you really, really get engrossed in this like one man's life.
Yep.
And it's so beautiful. And I am, it didn't make me say like bawl, like watching it.
Okay.
But it definitely got me like super emotional, and I think it's just a beautiful story, It's not going to be for everyone, I think. It's definitely not, this feel-good movie of the year.
Yeah. I mean, the trailer certainly doesn't make it look like that.
Yeah, but it definitely says the same way where I think that book says something, this says something about life that you just don't get very often.
Yeah. Cool.
And there's like this great moment. I'll spoil this maybe, but there's a great scene between him and Carrie Condon later on where he just says this thing that I just feel like, again, is so universal that just captures what this movie is really about, where he's like, sometimes the sadness is so much that it feels like it's happening to someone else. And I'm like, that is like, for a person to like admit that, and then to encapsulate the things that he was feeling and I have a feeling in this movie, in this one phrase, and so perfectly and so succinctly. It was so beautiful.
That's very poetic.
That's the thing. That's what this movie is essentially about. And I think this is the human condition that we're talking about thing. This is where it's like, this is where I want people to watch more of these kind of films, It feels very art housey, which I can sometimes be like, stop, don't do too much like art stuff, just be like tell a regular story. But there's like all these amazing scenes, amazing moments, amazing actors just doing some great stuff that really elevates it to like on a different level. And I hadn't seen like this director's other stuff, but him and the DP, and they've done things together before, and now I need to go back and like rewatch some of these things because I haven't seen it. But yeah, Train Dreams, definitely top of it.
Kicking myself even harder now for not seeing it. It sounds beautiful.
Yeah,
I mean, I expected the trailer just looks so good. Everything I've heard is similar. Just man, I gotta see that now.
Well, what's your number 3?
Okay. Well, we've been doing
the Golden Trio.
Yeah, we're top 3 films of the year, and I will say, before I start listing my top 3, my next 3 films, they have more or less been automatic since the moment I started even thinking about making this list. There was a world where I put Naked Gun in the top 3, and Predator
missed out,
and Badlands.
Yeah,
they were both, and then I was like, no, they're silly, and these 3 movies are like movies that do start to scratch about something about the human condition for me, or something like a little more grand. And I made a list. I put them in the top 3, If you ask me about them tomorrow, the order might be different.
Might be, yeah.
So
that happens.
I'm going
Interchangeable.
I'm going with this list, but like as far as I'm concerned, it's really a 3-way tie for number 1. But yeah, having said that, I can talk about my number 3 because I know it is not on your list because of something you said earlier.
What's your number 3?
It is One Battle After Another.
Okay.
I gotta say, I almost don't want to talk about it because it's probably the most talked about movie of the year. And I don't think
film bro, get off my podcast, bro.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
But kind of for real.
No.
I don't. PTA is one of my favorite filmmakers.
He's good,
and I don't think he missed with this one.
Yeah,
I would like to talk about my experience of the film.
Yes,
I didn't like it the first time I saw it.
Yeah,
I was confused.
Was it the hype? Was it overhyped too by that point, or did you go in not knowing?
I saw it early.
Okay.
I saw it early the first time. I went in thinking the trailer sucked. And I didn't know what the fuck the movie was about. And I went in being like, oh, bad trailer. I don't know if I like the movie. Incredible performances, very well made. I just didn't know if I actually liked it. Especially because of the ending. I saw it a second time in VistaVision, which for the record, I don't think fucking matters at all. Just watch the fucking movies. Who fucking cares how many millimeters your film was when you saw it? I know you're going to disagree.
No. Honestly, like I also don't care, but I think I saw a TikTok this morning of like 2 film bros found out you watched
you did see it at VistaVision? Yeah, no, I've seen it too.
You don't know what format you watched it in? Come on.
Because it's bigger.
They're all big screens.
Yeah.
Tell you what.
I really do. Look, I'm gonna go on a rant now. I think it's so fucking dumb when film bros talk about what format you saw it on, because 10 minutes in, you're not going to notice the fucking difference. You absolutely, at least for me, my eyes and sensation of it adjusts to however it's being presented.
Yeah.
And unless you're going to watch the movie 10 times, you're not going to know the fucking difference because you haven't seen it in 70 or 35 or IMAX.
Yeah.
The way you see it is the only reference you have for that fucking film. It's dumb as fuck. And like, look, maybe if you're a real film nerd, maybe if you're a DP, maybe if you're a photographer, some little perspective at the edge of the frame fucking matters. But you know what, dude? If that's what you're taking away from fucking movies, you're missing the fucking point, because the point's always the story first. That's why it's a fucking movie and not a set of pictures. God damn it. Ugh, drives me crazy. I also will say this.
So you're going to watch The Odyssey on your phone.
Obviously. But also, I feel like this conversation almost only exists in Los Angeles. No one is fucking talking about this in Austin. No one's fucking talking about this in St. Louis, in Chicago. No one's fucking talking about this in Denver.
Well,
no one's talking about this in Seattle.
They also don't have screens, to be fair.
Because they don't fucking need it. Because they don't fucking need it. Because they will understand the movie just as well as you. Seeing it in 70 millimeter, seeing it in IMAX, seeing it in 35 at the Siskel Center. So just shut the fuck up and watch the movie.
Can I tell you my first experience with 70 millimeter?
Please.
Lawrence of Arabia at the Paramount in Austin, which is not even like an IMAX 70 millimeter screen, but it is the first time I watched a movie in 70 millimeter. And that was, Lawrence of Arabia is an older movie.
Very old.
And I'd never seen a movie, but I think there are some movies that I had never seen Lawrence of Arabia, and seeing it for the first time.
Heston, that movie?
That's, that was Peter O'Toole. I'd never seen Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah.
And I think for a first time experiencing that, like that was made for some, like the spectacle of like the wide shots and everything.
The big landscapes.
So I can agree to disagree. I agree with you for the most part. I heard someone went to see this in VistaVision. I was like, oh, I wanted to go see this in VistaVision. And they're like, they showed me a picture of the screen. I'm like, that's a lot smaller than I thought.
Yep.
It's like, it's not even like an amazing format. I don't even understand.
I'm going to get worked up about it, but like, look, like I will go beyond my criticism and frustration with film bros in Los Angeles nerding out and jerking off over whatever format you're watching shit in. I can go a step beyond that and say, hey, movies are dying. It's really fucking cool that Los Angeles has these small, independently owned theaters that are screening things in unique formats, or screening older things or things that you can't see everywhere. And also reminding people that movies just aren't TV shows that you can watch in public, but that watching things with a group of strangers is fun, wholesome, and can like really be an experience beyond just the movie itself. So I'm all for having theaters like the Vista doing VistaVision and like sitting in this weird old archaic room. It's awesome. That's cool. I am specifically frustrated with the fetishization of formatting of films as the only way or correct way or better way to see things.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I'm frustrated with.
Because in my opinion, if they really, really cared about it, they would be over the moon with 4DX.
Yep. 100%. 100%, dude. Absolutely.
You haven't seen a film until you've sat into a seat and then they're getting sprayed water at you. I mean, come on.
I mean, like, or like, where's the fucking, why isn't everybody racing to fucking go see Tron Ares in Dolby? You know what I mean? Like with the fucking insane sound system at AMC, whatever. Anyways, getting back to the actual movie I was talking about, I don't have a ton to say about One Battle After Another because holy shit, white guys have talked about this movie too much. My personal big takeaways. Yeah. It's my favorite Leo performance of all time. I think it's the first time he's finally fucking light and easy and sloppy and willing to be a buffoon. And it's really special because he's always playing a genius. He's always playing the best. He's always playing someone who's striving really hard and always does the right thing to get what they want. And this is the first time he's like a fuck up and a loser and like an imbecile. And it's so refreshing. And I hope that the success of the movie.
The first time.
I'd be hard pressed to name a lot more.
In this way,
I'll fight you on this.
Was he? I mean, he was kind of a buffoon in Wolf of Wall Street. There's a way. There's a style of it. There's a difference.
I don't think so. I think Jordan Beltran in Wolf of Wall Street is like an expert at what he does. He is a genius
as being a corn artist.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah. Right? As a salesperson, great, amazing.
He's the best at it, right? He's the one that everyone looks to. He's the one that makes all the money.
Sure.
Anyways. It's my favorite Leo performance. He's sloppy. He's light. He's easy. He's a buffoon. It's great. I think that the movie... And
he's just a father, though. There's a very heartfelt...
And he's a dad who's just trying to connect with his daughter and doesn't know how.
And doesn't even know that he's not even the father.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry. I guess I spoiled the movie there just now, but like, that's I think a tremendous...
That's the question what fatherhood means, too.
That's what I like about it, yeah.
But I think Sean Penn will probably get nominated, maybe win.
I hope not.
I think the best part of the movie is Benicio.
Oh yes.
It's not even, and it's not even close.
Not even.
Because here's my journey.
I don't think he even had a script for a lot of his stuff. I think he didn't. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, they added multiple scenes because after they brought him on. Yeah. But because he was like, this should happen. And PTA was like, okay. But my experience of the movie and the reason that I think Benicio makes it, and I didn't like it the first time, and then rewatching it, I was like, this movie's smarter than I think it was. The movie ends with her getting in the car, going to the rally, and that fucking shitty Tom Petty song comes on. I fucking hate Tom Petty, by the way. Sorry. And it's so just like cheesemo Americana. And I was like, ugh. Yeah. I don't like this. And I kept thinking about it because I liked so much about the movie. And it sat with me for a long time. I saw it again like a week or two later in VistaVision. And I think that the movie is actually much more critical of the typical American style of patriotism or revolution or like dissent, right? And that like she's getting in the car to go to a rally. An American Girl is playing by Tom Petty, and she's got her heart in the right place. And the message is that she's on her way to be about as effective as Dad was, right? And it's just this cycle of like American contempt for real change. Meanwhile, Benicio doesn't draw any attention to himself, is grassroots organizing through his karate store, through his tienda, through his church, making real connections one-on-one with other human beings. And he's wildly effective. He saves Leo twice, one out of jail / hospital, again, driving him away, right? He has the calm perspective, right? He's not looking for attention or making waves with his revolution. It's deeply rooted in people and results. And once I saw that, once I started to get that, I was like, oh, this movie's a lot smarter than I think I gave it credit for the first time I saw it. So that is about all I'll say about one
This
battle
is
after
one,
another.
yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's one of those movies where I felt the same as you. I was like, man, I'm going to go in and I'm going to hate this kind of thing. There was a film bro-ness of it all. There's a lot of white people talking about it kind of thing. And then I'm like, man, why does Paul Thomas Anderson have to be so good at whatever
really
he does?
good, dude.
And making a film out of something where like the climax wasn't even written, where they just found it through location and found a way to make these moments work. And I'm like, how? You're saying so many things, not even knowing that you were going to say it.
Yeah.
How does that work? Hey, you have to be so good as a filmmaker for me to connect with this whenever you didn't even have like a real plan.
I think this is why PTA is one of the greats. Is, and I'm gonna sound pretentious now and like a film bro, but like he's so good at making sure what he's capturing feels authentic.
Yeah.
That like I don't think he always needs a script because he hires really good actors and makes sure that the character is really clear, and then you get really honest moments that sometimes are dramatic and cool, like the ending or whatever. But other times, it's fucking hilarious. Like it's very funny. Like whatever the Christmas Brotherhood white supremacist dudes, all that dialogue stuff. That stuff is fucking hilarious, right? It feels like it's like this is clearly the same guy that made Boogie Nights, you know, or like. Some of the stuff with Sean Penn when he's just like, is this some kind of joke against God or whatever? I'm like, yeah, Sean Penn is saying it as seriously as he fucking can, but oh my God, it's so ridiculous. But yeah, I think that like Sean Penn had almost like the moment of I'm saying like our other category of like biggest moment. Like this is like runner up for like when he shows up, when he's still walking at the end of that movie and like everyone just busted out laughing like in my theater. I'm like, okay, that's a moment you don't get like at home, you know. Totally.
You know, that feeling, that was such a weird moment.
Yeah, totally.
But it was great.
But yeah, I think that like watching it a second time, I ended up thinking the movie was funnier than it was the first time to me, thinking that the heroes, the main characters aren't actually the heroes of the movie. They're just the protagonists. And the movie, I think, does a good job highlighting what real revolution might look like or what real radicalism looks like. I think also it's fucking insane that they filmed this thing 2 years ago and it's unthinkably timely given what our country looks like today.
That's the thing. I think to me, this is an honorable mention, not on my top 10, but I do think it's one of the most important films that anyone could see nowadays because it is so incredibly timely, you know?
Yeah, it's wild.
And for me, the reason it's an honorable mention and the reason I liked it so much was kind of the things that you're saying is like, it's everyone's fighting their own mini revolution. Yeah. It is literally one battle after another, right? Or one revolution after another, right? Sure. And they're all fighting these little revolutions, and it takes what we think of a revolution, turns it on its head, and shows like how we're all can be like fighting something, you know, that we're all going through this, and then shows like the different ways people are fighting things that you're not seeing, you know. Some of them good, some of them bad, you know. But again, like with Benicio del Toro, like he's also fighting a revolution, but it's very different from what we see online. And then it shows, and then by that ending when Chase Infinity goes off to do the protests, and not only has Leo been okay with not being in control of his child or whatever, but has also done a good job by raising someone who is able to fight for something, you know. Like there's many things to be said about that, you know, and like how we change what revolution can look like. Totally. You know, so that's why I loved it. But yeah, cool. Honorable mention, as so to speak. But yeah, that's your number 3.
That's my number 3. Movie. So
my number 3, I'll just say it. I think we're at top 3. Like if it's higher, it's higher. You know, like we're pretty close to like whatever.
Yeah, from here on out, if we have overlap, we can just talk about it.
Yeah, my number 3 is Superman.
Not on my list.
Talk about, I think this is a very interesting when we talk about.
I liked it, and something about it is on my list. It's not in my top 10 or honorable mentions.
Interesting. So I think that it's weird to me that Superman, I don't know if it's the James Gunn of it all. I think it's the Peacemaker DC Universe thing that's kind of making people sour on whatever Superman was. Yeah. I don't know why, because I feel like this movie I mentioned it before, had such a chokehold on everyone over the summer.
Yeah.
This idea that kindness is a new punk rock. Everyone was like so enamored by this, you know, that like Superman is representing a different form of what like we should be putting on a pedestal.
I don't disagree.
You know?
My take, if I'm being, just for the sake of trying to answer your question.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to like it. I think it's just because even though that was the reaction people had, I think it's still getting washed over by superhero fatigue.
I think, superhero fatigue.
And
for sure.
I know that's lame because I think societally have been saying that for half a decade, but like, or more. Yeah. But like, I do think that like, it was a really good movie and people did respond really positively to it. And there was something new about it with like radical kindness kind of being at the core of what it means to be a superhero. But I think it's just not going to stick because of the superhero churn. You know what I mean? I think it's one of those. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, people have their own reasons for not including it on lists or whatever. And there is always like the big blockbusters always end up not being something that ever ends up on a top 10 of the year list. Yeah. And that for me though, is like this movie, was it the most human Superman we've ever gotten? Most human Superman. Yeah. Probably best DC movie we've ever gotten. Also, I should just say, I could come out and say that while it wasn't in my top 10 it almost made my honorable mentions. Yeah. I thought about it and I ended up just including the scene at the end where Superman's talking to Lex about why he's human. My favorite. Just like everybody. Yeah. That's my favorite scene of the year in a movie that otherwise I didn't like put on a list because that scene is fucking incredible. Not only is it like powerful and meaningful and like speaks to what radical empathy means, I have never seen any shit like that in a superhero movie. It's so not what superhero movies tend to be nowadays. Yeah. Love that scene. Very, very cool. Anyways. Yeah. That's where this movie showed up for me. I think that's where it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's not about saving the world. It's just about this fight that this guy is having with his identity. Yep. And I'm like, that's the most human thing ever. Yep. We talked about the human condition so much in terms of like what we get out of these movies. And I'm like, what other movie has talked about humanity more? You know, probably my number 2 or 1, right? But this is for a Superman movie to really question like what makes us human is so amazing. And then like where does a superhero fit in this world? My favorite scene of this movie, I think I mentioned it to you before you had seen it, and I'm curious like what you thought about this scene. But that interview scene between him and Lois was, I think... It's like early in the movie where they go back to the apartment and she's like, oh, I can have my interview? Incredible. I need to time that out, but I think that's like 10 or 15 minutes. And in a blockbuster movie that is typically like, you gotta go. You know, Marvel needs to, you don't get this kind of thing. Yeah. Like this one gives you just this is its own, I could do this in like an acting class, right? Like 100%. This is like a scene. It's a beautiful scene. You could bring it in and really pick it apart and do something. And I'm like, that you don't get in any other blockbuster film. And I thought that was like why it elevates it above like any other like superhero fare is because you get multiple moments of that, you know? It really wears its heart on its sleeve. Yeah. You know, and I think James Gunn has been known for that, you know, and I think some people are kind of tired of it and some people are kind of, you know, superhero fatigue or whatever. And they're like, maybe it's becoming earnest to the point of annoyance or whatever, but I still like that, you know? Yeah. I think Superman has constantly been like one of my favorite superheroes in terms of what it says about us and like what we can get away with, away from him, you know, come away with. And that's why I didn't like the Zack Snyder ones because they weren't saying the things that I felt like Superman stood for, you know? And it's not the American way, you know, it's not that part of it, right? It's just the fact that like, this is a person that is a human that is trying to figure out like where he fits and where he belongs, you know? And that's what it is at the end of the day. That scene with him going home, talking to his dad, and his dad can't really relate to his son anymore, but he's like, you know,
remember this new taco place opened up. We can, but they were really good. It's just dad trying to like relate to his son. And that was such a beautiful scene. And as a person who came from like a small town, didn't grow up with a dad, first of all, but like grew up in a small town and understands that kind of relation with family and stuff. I'm like, that's what I want Clark Kent. That's what I love about Superman, and James Gunn understood that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. So many beautiful, beautiful moments that we just don't get in a superhero film. And I think because of superhero fatigue, people are just like glossing over it. Yeah. But there's so much to dissect in these films.
Yeah.
In this film, And if this was all I had to go on for what's up for the DC universe, I would be all in already, because I think that James Gunn is doing such a tremendous job. I'm really looking forward to Lanterns, when that comes out. It looks like an HBO show, that's going to be, that'll be interesting and different, So I don't know. I loved it. I loved it so much.
It's awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah. Those are our number 3 movies. What is your number 2 movie of the year?
I'm afraid it's going to be your number 1. Do you want to do your number 2 first?
My number 2 movie of the year is Hamnet.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Again, this is one of those films where I really don't think a lot of people are going to like this, right?
I can't believe I didn't see it.
There's like an artistic bend to this film where like somewhere in the middle it becomes so tragic where I'm just like, I'm like, why am I torturing myself?
Yeah.
And some of these like the things where it becomes like, okay, you're spending way too long on that shot. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like it's getting a little art housey for me, but there's just such a beautiful moment at the end of this film. I'm going to try. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I think you should go into this movie not even knowing what it's about.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm trying to kind of give the vibe of this movie and like why I love it so much.
Okay.
I mean, performances off the charts. I mean, Paul Mescal, again, shows you why he can just show up and not say a word. And you're like, I want to know more about this guy. I want to be with this guy. I want to like, why is he flirting with me through the screen? Like there's something about Paul Mescal that like, he just radiates. Like he's so commanding in his stillness and his quietness. And he's so soft while being like intentional and confident.
Yeah.
Right. There's a vulnerability to him.
Yeah.
That I just am drawn to. And he's solidified himself as like one of the most, my favorite actor now of this generation. He's just it. I want to watch anything he's in. Jesse Buckley does an amazing job as usual. But I think it's Paul Mescal who does a really good job. And I think surprisingly, I talked about this before when it comes to child actors, the person that outshines both of them is this little kid who plays the title character of Hamnet, Jacoby Jupe.
Okay.
This kid, if they should be giving awards to anyone, it should be this,
Whoa, okay.
I would be like, I know like most of the conversation right now is about Timothée Chalamet. I'm like, this belongs to Jacoby. I don't know where they found, I mean, I know where they found this kid, but I like, I don't know how they managed to get the performances out of him. And it doesn't become like this typical child performance. He's not written more or less than like a normal kid would be sometimes, but he's also taking on these things that like you would never trust a child actor to do. I would never trust a child actor to do.
Yeah.
But he takes it and he does it in such a believable way that it just blows me away. It just blows me away. And some of my favorite scenes are with him, just being him. And I just fell in love with this kid. And so that's what makes this movie so fascinating and so beautiful and so heart-wrenching. And as you get to like near the end of the film, you're carrying so much with you, so much emotions and so many things I feel like have been building up inside of you. And there's this final climactic scene. It's like 5 minutes of something that's going on in this film where I'm like, what are we watching? Why are we here? Where are we going with this? And then there's a moment where like you've been building everything up behind this dam and then suddenly it breaks.
Yeah.
And I think I experiencing that in a theater was just this is where it became like almost the best moment in a theater for me, right? The best moment of 2025, regardless of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's not. I have a different moment for that, but was just me in this theater knowing that I'm feeling feelings and then hearing other people crying at the same time, and just like, this is like everyone's feeling the same thing that I'm feeling like right now.
Yep.
It's such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful moment. And that's why it's number 2 on me, because if I feel like any movie that can make me feel the way that I feel, regardless of like how it's made or like how I felt along the journey or whatever, that's where it elevates it for me, because I come away with it being like, why did I feel that? What was it about that thing? I've said it before, this movie is about art and this is about creativity. And I love those kinds of movies. It's about writing. It's about just human existence. It's about parenthood and there's like the first half of the movie is just about love, and finding love and what is love. And then the other half of the movie is like about grief. It's so heart-wrenching but also just like bittersweet in its beauty. I just fell in love with this kid, and then I fell in love with this movie.
Yeah. Cool.
I recommend everyone watch it. It's probably not going to be for everyone, but I think that if you give it a chance, you will experience exactly like that moment that I feel like me and other people had in that theater by the end of it,
Yeah.
That was my number 2.
Mm-hmm.
What is your number 2 movie of the year?
I'm afraid it's your number 1.
Maybe.
My number 2 is Sinners.
Yep. Absolutely.
You want to go first?
No, go ahead. I talked enough.
I loved it. And it's incredible. I guess my first biggest thing that I want to say about Sinners is somehow, I saw that movie probably a week or 2 after it came out, but somehow I went to the theater not knowing, spoiler alert, that's a vampire movie. And It was so fucking fun getting to ride that roller coaster in real time, not knowing what was going to happen, because like the setup for the movie makes it seem like it's going to be some like spiritual thriller where like this kid who plays guitar real well sells his soul, and then maybe there's like demons or something. And like that element is there, but it's like, no, there's also literally just vampires. And I didn't know. And so like when that actually happened, I was like, oh my God. You know more about cinematography than I do, but I think that is probably the most beautifully shot movie of the year for me. It just looks gorgeous.
If we could give awards, for sure.
Like,
if this doesn't win at the Oscars for cinematography, I'm going to be mad.
The sequence, right, where he travels through time with all like this, like sensational black musicians, and the walls of the barn fall away, and there's just like this like jam session, was one of the most like, yo, man, that's a big swing for a moment in a movie, and it fucking knocked it out of the park for me. I thought it was amazing.
I think there's a lot of big swings for this movie.
Yeah. I mean, the performances I think are great, right? I hope Michael B. Jordan gets nominated. I like those brothers a lot. And yeah, it's like that movie, it felt like
you forget there's not, it's just one person.
You do. Yeah. You do. I mean, like for me, that movie felt like it was 15 minutes long. Like I was just like, and oh my God, the end with Buddy Guy, literal Buddy Guy sitting there in that bar. I was like, oh my God, it's just such a cool nod to the history of black musicianship and blues. And oh my God. Yeah. I thought it was awesome. The music's so good. The music's actually phenomenal. Like, you know, like I remember being like, yo, I would just listen to these songs. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Well, you said it. This is my number one movie of the year. I feel like I've mentioned it before. I came out of this movie just blown away.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where I'm like, I'm kind of am disappointed in myself for how much I guess didn't believe in Ryan Coogler. Right. I thought he made tremendous films, but they never, hit me in a way where I'm like, yeah, this is cinema. Whereas like this kind of came out of nowhere. Like this is cinema. This is an original property. Again, for me, Paul Thomas Anderson is great, but nothing speaks to, I don't know, anything of like the time that we're in, of what movies can be and like should be. And just shows such like a confidence and a deftness to like how this is thing being made, and it's firing on all cylinders. Like this is what cinema like should be. Yeah. Like the music's good, the performances are good, the cinematography is good.
It's funny.
The writing is fucking good. Like he took an original concept and something that didn't need, could have been just a basic blockbuster thing, and then elevated it to something about so much more, and also it's like, it's like a thriller vampire movie, which is like usually like a tight, like hour and a half, like kind of like horror film kind of thing. I'm like, this is not a horror film. This is like something else entirely.
It is, dude.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the most masterful things about the movie is that like, sure, it's a vampire horror movie, but at its core, it's about like two brothers trying both to like reconnect and like make room for themselves in the world, and figure out like, hey, like we have ambition, we have know-how, we want to figure out like we really want our own peace. What's it going to take? So there's also just that like that whole journey happening. Also, there's a handful of relationships that are incredibly compelling.
Oh yeah.
Right. Where it's like about a husband and a wife reconnecting, and figuring out like after some time apart, if like this still makes sense or not, I mean, it's fucking cool.
It takes a lot of time in that first half where you're like, what movie is this going to be? Like you said, it takes us so much time before it ever introduces the vampire element, which is the main like crux of the film. Right. But it takes so much time that most of these films in genre filmmaking never do. Right. So it takes what I love about genre filmmaking, which is these like high concept kind of sci-fi kind of, fantasy like elements, and then puts it into like an epic. I mentioned Lawrence of Arabia, but this belongs in that kind of like epic kind of like, I could do 3 hours of this, This is exactly what, this is, I feel like better than anything Quentin Tarantino has ever done.
Wow.
In my opinion, like Ryan Coogler has managed to hit on a zeitgeist and make something so fascinating and so watchable, and to take this time with these characters like early on to really, really build up the relationships and what we're dealing before it ever like gets into the action film, blockbuster film of it all, is just so compelling and so amazing. And was so necessary. Yeah. Like the amount of people that like needed to see this movie, was just off the charts. I think it's not going to, because films like this never do for some reason at the Oscars. This needs to win Best Picture on the platform of the fact that like no one will give you an experience like this at a movie theater ever again, or it's very rare.
Doesn't happen a lot.
Like this is the best cinematic experience you can have like all year, which makes it for me Best Picture. Whether or not I even could relate to some of the things, like I'm not black, I can't understand the racial element of a lot of this, but I can relate to a lot of the other things, and I can relate to like the brotherhood aspect. I can relate to like the love story aspect of it, like I can relate to so many different things of it, even if I can't relate to that, but it's doing that. And, it's bringing so many layers to something.
Totally.
And I think it means, I said One Battle After Another is like a very important film. I think this is equally as, obviously it's my number one. It's like one of the most important films of the year.
For sure.
I think we'll be talking about this. This is one of those things that comes along and people are going to point to it as like my favorite film ever. It's going to create a bunch of cinemaphiles. It's going to create a bunch of people that want to make films, and that's the impact of this.
I agree. I think that like really while we be talking about it, it has less to do with like the movie itself and the fact that like it was an outsider.
Yeah.
That hit a home run. Right. Is like, yes, Ryan Coogler had made movies before and stuff, but like, I think they released it in like January or February.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this isn't on anybody's radar. It was just like, it was at the time, in my memory of it was like, this was just a Michael B. Jordan thing he was doing on the side. And it ended up being like most people's favorite movie of the year. Right. And I think that it's really cool because like, no major studio backing, no pre-existing IP, not a traditional story in any way, and it killed. Yeah, I think that's absolutely its legacy.
Oh, and the villains are compelling.
Yeah,
like the vampires. Then the lore is super compelling.
Yeah,
it's so like amazing. Like it's like, oh, we can have this and this. It's like,
totally. Well, this is like a lot of times like tonally, my favorite movies are ones that are like scary or serious, but also funny. And like, dude, this movie's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
There's like something very, very terrifying about the vampires, but also the fact that they need to come up and be like, come on, man, just let me in is fucking hilarious. There's a lightheartedness to it. Like the movie doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's willing to be silly when they just, oops, accidentally killed someone who's not a vampire.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. It knows when to give you like these cool moments too, these moments that you want, like in these kind of like genre filmmaking of like Michael B. Jordan, whether it's a line that they say, or whether it's like him just like shooting the gun in like slow motion. It's like give him a hero moment or like these like specific shot, knowing when to land on something. It's like it knows it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it like also it's like a fan made. It's made for fans, of which there were no fans of this before. But like what I'm saying, like it gives you these fan moments, that you come away being like, oh yeah, do you remember this moment? I love that moment. I love it. And that's what you want out of films, and that's why it's my number one movie of the year. But what is your number one movie? What have we not talked about yet?
No, I picked a polarizing one.
Okay.
I loved it. I think it's very important. I think in the long run. But my number one movie of the year is Eddington.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Ari Aster, Joaquin Phoenix, our favorite Pedro Pascal.
Sure.
But yeah. What to say about Eddington? It's not the easiest watch. I don't think it's nearly as innovative as Sinners, nor is it as exciting, or even as fun. But there's something incredible about Eddington for me in that it is one of the only movies I've seen. Well, definitely the only movie I saw in 2025, and probably one of the only movies I've seen in the last 10 years that's trying to tackle how technology and our political climate, while it makes us feel more interconnected, has actually totally alienated us all. And I think that both that is insanely timely, given the events of the year, the events of the last week and a half. But also like, I think that like there is a tendency to talk about Eddington as a movie about COVID. It's not about COVID at all. COVID is like a framing device. It could be any hot button political issue, but the movie's about how these fucking things have polarized us and made it so impossible for us to have conversation with each other, for us to talk about things and issues, and how we've kind of taken out the shared humanity between each other. And I think that is going to make Eddington timeless, because unless we figure that out, we're totally fucked. And spoiler alert, I don't think Eddington has a very optimistic look at the problem, but it's looking at it, tackling it, and addressing it in a really smart way. Because the hero of the movie, if there even is one, is a relatively conservative sheriff who doesn't believe in masks, who doesn't know what the fuck pronouns mean, right? He's fairly detestable by progressive standards. And yet the movie shows how utterly lost he is, how he wants at its core the same things that anyone else wants, and how he's completely powerless in a world where technologically everything has just run away from him or moved on without him. And yeah, it's amazing. I think that it's weird because the movie, like Ari Aster's first two movies, right, are like deeply horrific horror movies, right? And this isn't like that at all. In a lot of ways, this feels like almost like a comedy of manners, or like a black comedy, like a small town that just can't get it together. There's
like a Coen Brothers style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, almost exactly. Almost like a Coen Brothers movie. There's definitely like some Fargo vibes for the first half, maybe even 2/3 of the movie. And then I'm not going to spoil things. But it gets to a point where it's not funny anymore, or it's like deeply funny, but in like a absurdly horrific way. But it's great. And I think it's like, for me, again, best movie of the year. I don't know. But I think it's for sure one.
You.
I think it's one that we for sure are like should be talking about for a long time. So yeah,
never got to see it, so I still have to. It's still on my list to kind of like check out. I've heard mixed things. Like you said, it is very polarizing. Yeah. There's some people. I think the film cast, which is one thing that I watch. I know that was on Jeff Kanata's top 10. Not number one, but I think it was up there. Yeah. So I think that. I think you'll actually share like a lot of similarities. But
I'll have to listen. I mean, I will say, like, again, going back to my point is that, like, I think unfortunately the movie got marketed as a movie about COVID, and it's like, it's so fucking not. It's like, yes, they talk about masks a little bit and the virus and stuff, but the movie is about how we've been balkanized and split up and polarized societally to stop talking to each other and just scream catchphrases. And got you, dunk on you moments and stuff like that. And I think it's like only going to become more relevant over time. Like already with like, the shit that's happened in Minneapolis in the last week and a half, and like the ice in major cities in the last 6 months or so. Like, trust me, we're going to be talking. I think people are going to be looking at Eddington more and more and more. Yeah.
Well, that's our top 10 of the year.
That's the 10.
We got through it. We did. Yeah. I'm glad that our list like almost completely different.
I mean, to my record, right? Only we had two shares.
Yeah.
Within the actual top 10, there was Black Bag and Sinners. Sinners I knew was going to be on your list. Yeah. Black Bag I was pleasantly surprised. And then we both had some overlap with top 10 and our honorable mentions. Like, I think I had Weapons and Predator Badlands and on there, and those were in your honorable mentions. You had F1, that was one of my honorable mentions. Knives Out was one of yours. That was one of my honorable
mentions. Wake Up
mentions.
Dead Man. Yeah. My honorable mentions. There's a few of these I do want to talk about just briefly, but I had one battle after another. And some other things that you didn't talk about. Or we didn't talk about yet. We have The Legend of Hay 2, which is an animated film that just came out last year. It's a Chinese film. Not many people are going to see it. Probably not until next year. I don't think it's even dubbed yet. I don't know if it came. I think it came out in theaters, but it's. I didn't even get to see The Legend of Hay, the first one, until I knew this movie came out, and I'd watched both of them, but I'd heard good things about it. Right. So it's just a really fun action. It's very adorable. It's a very adorable like action, like Chinese movie about spirits. And I don't know. I fell in love with the whole world of it,
I got to see it.
Thunderbolts was very close to being on my like top 10 because of the mental health aspect of it.
Agree.
I think that final scene was like the fact that like they defeat the enemy with a hug is just like something you don't normally get in Marvel, but it still suffers from like the Marvelness of
it. Does. It's like, dude, it's like, I put that on my list for like soundtrack / score because I thought it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I agree, man. It was like, oh my God, a superhero movie that actually is about something besides superheroes. Like it's literally a movie about mental health is awesome. It's just too caught up in the superhero-ness for me.
Yeah. If it stood alone more so, then maybe it would have been like actually on my top 10. Urchin, which was I think on a lot of actors like top of the year list, which is not surprising because I think it is very much like an actor kind of movie. The only reason it doesn't hit my top 10, I think it's really good. I think the only reason it doesn't hit top 10 is because it doesn't do much to destigmatize the like stereotype of people who suffer from homelessness. There's still like a stereotype kind of there, and it doesn't. And whereas like I think it's a really great look at people who suffer homelessness. An amazing performance from the lead actor. It still fits into the stereotypes, which is kind of annoying,
sure,
right? No Other Choice, I think, is a lot on a lot of people's top 10s. I thought it was an amazing film, great film. I watched it pretty late.
I saw it late too. I liked it. I didn't love it.
Yeah.
I think that like my two biggest like criticisms. One, I don't like the pacing of it. I think that it really felt like 2.5 hours, and I wanted that movie to be 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And two, this is really specific. And spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about the ending. I wanted him to get run over in the automated factory by like the machines.
Or something. Yeah.
I wanted him to get killed. And I was like, wait, so he
does some bad things.
He's just happy and everything's meaningless or whatever. I'm like,
it's an interesting film. I like what it's saying. I like what it's talking about. And I do like the absurdity of like these elements and the fact that like he gets what he wants, but he's just a guy surrounded by machines is interesting. You know, it's its own like little hell, I guess. But like, I don't know.
He's not in hell though. He's very happy.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He's got his paper job.
I guess there could be enough to be said about like, the journey to get there was so absurd to only end up there is just, I mean, honestly, as someone who like is basically unemployed and trying to look for work, it's very relevant.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's a tough job market right now, dude.
But very close, but not quite like Sam. I didn't like come away like in love with it. Right. But one movie I did that made my honorable mentions that I see no one talking about and almost made it into my top 10 was Roofman.
Didn't see it.
I thought this was such a earnest, heartfelt, heartwarming movie.
The Channing Tatum one.
Yeah,
right?
Channing Tatum.
Fuck.
And it might be a little bit long than it needs to be, but there was something again about this film that I really fell in love with. I was engaged throughout, the characters are fun. The actors are fun. It's a very genuine, heartwarming story. And I think it's just really interesting because it kind of makes a hero out of a guy who essentially did some bad things. He broke into some things and maybe traumatized some people. And it does talk about that, know, it puts that kind of like at the forefront, and then you're like, am I rooting for like a bad guy? Because he doesn't seem like a bad guy. That's the whole point of it. Like, it's like, he's just a guy, who's trying to survive. And I think that's a very compelling story and movie. And maybe it doesn't exactly know what it's trying to say in those things and why it doesn't hit my top 10, because I don't exactly know what it really was going to be about, even though like I really enjoyed watching it. I thought it was a really well-made movie.
Sure.
I thought it was really solid, that was one of my honorable mentions. Let's go through our like subcategories of things that,
Well, I did have one more honorable mention.
Oh, sure.
We talked about almost all mine, the F1, the Knives Out. But I kind of had a soft spot for the Running Man remake.
Oh, I don't feel the same, but yeah, go ahead.
I think it's incredible. And it just has a horrific ending. I think that like it's incredibly timely. The commoditization of human life for the sake of entertainment, a society that cares about celebrity and like the accidental surveillance state nature just by everyone willing and engaging in like playing around with their phones. I think it's probably the most I've ever liked Glenn Powell. I think that like his kind of like hammy mugging for the camera thing works really well in the movie. I just think that the ending fucking sucks. And that like, it was like headed in such a cool place where I'm just like, he's going to kill himself and kill everyone in the studio too. And it's like, no, then they try and tell you that like the most famous man in the world can just like tell a cashier, oh, that's my wife, I'm going to pay for her. And everyone knows who I am. And even though there's like DNA sensors on every street light, he can still get into the studio. That's like the place that he shouldn't, like the most dangerous place for him to be. It just makes no fucking sense. But I was like very, very along for the ride until like the last 15 minutes of the movie. And then I was like, oh, garbage. But I was like, ugh, I was having so much fun on the ride until the end was just like, we can't end this. So we're just not going to.
Yeah. I don't know. I just felt like it didn't, I mean, as I said in my review, it just didn't feel like an Edgar Wright movie. It didn't feel, I don't know. I didn't connect with any element, I think, of that movie. I think what you're saying, there was some elements where I was like, oh, that's interesting, of those things, but it just didn't, I guess it didn't explore it enough for me to really get the gist of it, or really connect with it. And I'm like, I don't know what movie this wants to be. I don't know. So yeah, but I'm glad someone connected with it because I don't hear many people like really connecting with that movie. Totally. Like at all. Not many people watched it either, unfortunately. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, first on my other categories, we have either a favorite TV show or favorite non-theatrical movie that you want to hit on.
I have two.
Yeah, or for either category. Yeah, go ahead.
Favorite TV show for me of the year is probably Alien Earth.
Okay.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And I think it's timely. I'm very here to talk about AI and applications. Always down, if you listen to this podcast, as you know, for any and all expansions on the Alien universe. I thought it was super well acted. I hope we get more of it.
Yeah. My favorite television show was Task. I went in thinking it's just going to be another kind of, it's Mark Ruffalo leading a task force. I was like, okay, this is going to be kind of like police procedural mystery kind of thing. It's one of those like very tight miniseries things that you would see with like good acting performances, and came away being like, that was not about cops and robbers at all. Like it felt like it, I mean, it was like, that's the premise, but it didn't feel like a normal procedural or mystery or any of these kinds of things. It was to me, the show was all about how like everyone in this movie was dealt a bad hand, and what do they do with it, and how do they get through life? And it was suddenly like poignant and beautiful again. Like I use that word a lot, but like it's just showing like the beauty and like humanity and like having to like, survive, as someone who was dealt a bad hand. It was amazing. Like the music is up there. It like overpowers you, I wasn't expecting it going into Task and to see some of like the most beautiful stories that I had seen. But yeah, it's about forgiveness, right? And it's about it's about so many different things. But yeah, I love. Did you watch it?
No.
Okay, I think it's worth watching.
Cool.
Definitely worth seeing if you missed out on it. What about any favorite? Because I also was like, is there any movie that you watched like that was like maybe streaming only or something that kind of you didn't get to, maybe not that you didn't get to see in the theater, but didn't go to theaters? That maybe.
I mean, I will remind you that K-pop Demon Hunters was on my list.
Was that? That's true.
I don't think it had a theatrical release.
That's right. Yeah.
But I didn't include it in this section because it was on my top 10. But aside from that, I really loved Predator Killer of Killers.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
I thought it was fan-fucking-tastic.
That was great too. Yeah.
Visually, definitely my favorite like cartoon of the year. Like I don't think I watched anything else that was drawn that I thought was prettier.
Yeah.
I could be forgetting something, but I just was like stunned by how gorgeous it was. And then, in case you haven't seen it, it is about Predator, kind of, but it's essentially the backstory of how predators recruit humans from all different ages of human history to fight in their like prize fights back on their planet. So you get three or four? Three very distinct stories.
There's 3 stories and then the ending, which is like,
synthesized, right?
Yeah.
But there's 3 really cool, distinct stories about 3 warriors, very different, but all human and from very different places in the world and eras of time. And I was just like, this is fucking awesome, man.
And they all just happen to, I say happen to because of that third one, they all just happen to kill a predator, which is why they get chosen, you know? It's not even because like they're the best warrior.
I mean, the predators assume they're the best because they killed a predator. But as you see, it's like not always, you know, who you would have picked as the
but it's telling like 3 different stories about these humans that has nothing to do with predator and like trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's a very interesting, I think that's a very solid choice for favorite non-theatrical movie.
How about you?
Definitely worth pointing out. My pick here is probably I don't know if it's going to be controversial, but definitely, I mean, it's why I put it here, right? Is Heads of State.
Oh, Jesus.
With Idris Elba and John Cena.
I didn't see it, but I forgot about the movie entirely.
And Priyanka Chopra Jonas.
Yeah.
This movie was surprisingly well done. Like the action is like really good. Like I was surprised that the stunts on display were really good. The action was really good. I just came away being like, I like that movie, and there's no reason I should have liked that. Like, there's like no absolutely no reason. I actually think I'm a Priyanka Chopra fan now, or I'm butchering her name. I'm sorry, but I think she does a tremendous job in the action department as well. Idris Elba and John Cena playing off of each other, like these two, like one guy who's playing the American, like I used to be an action movie star, you know, like an Arnold Schwarzenegger type, you know, and then Idris Elba, who's just London's best prime minister, of course, you know, like the way they're playing off of each other like really, really well. And so it's also like funny and hilarious. And again, I was blown away by the action. I'm like, this, again, it's not the best film of the year, you know, but as a movie that I just kind of put on and I was like, what is this movie about? You know, and then came away being like, I didn't completely hate that.
That's cool.
That's why it's my favorite non-theatrical.
I gotta watch it.
Anything from a previous year that you finally caught up on that you watched this year that you're like, this is all timer?
I don't have an answer.
Okay.
And not because I caught everything.
Yeah.
I don't have any way of remembering.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's lame, but
no, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, maybe next year when you look back and you're like, oh, the movies I didn't see, maybe next year.
Yeah. Totally.
If you finally see Hamnet and you're like, that would have been my top 10. But for me, the reason I made this category was because of a movie that I saw called Escape from the 21st Century, which is a time travel epic from, I forget what country. It's a foreign film. It's everything everywhere all at once on some sort of like steroids. It's amazing.
That sounds
crazy. And then involves time travel.
That movie's already on steroids.
Yeah. and involves time travel in ways that you haven't seen. It's like an anime come to life. I watched it twice. I watched it and then I introduced it to someone. I was like, you have to watch this. And they're like, let's watch it together. And it's I believe it's a 2023 movie, maybe 2024. I completely missed it. Didn't know about it. Heard about it. Put it on my list because it involves time travel. I was like, I gotta watch it, and I was not disappointed. You know,
sick.
So I definitely one of those things where I wish I had seen it the year it came out, but didn't get to until this year. But that's why I have this category, is because I want to like shout it out. You know, movie we didn't get. What's a movie that you just didn't get?
I got 2 for this.
Sure.
Feel bad. I'm firing shots here.
Uh-huh.
Yo, fuck Avatar and fuck Marty Supreme.
I get Avatar, but Marty Supreme is also on my list for movie that I didn't get. I have pissed off, I don't know if you've seen my recent TikTok or Instagram, but I have pissed off so many film bros by my comments on this movie. I didn't get it. I'm sorry. It didn't hit with me.
I don't think it makes sense.
I
either.
can't.
I mean, look, Josh Safdie's an insanely talented filmmaker. Timothée Chalamet might be the greatest actor of his generation, for all I'm concerned. That's not what's wrong with the movie. A, I don't need to see that many more movies about selfish people being selfish. B, if it's a movie about him being selfish and getting driven to it, then why the fuck am I supposed to believe that he cares about that kid at the end of the movie?
That was my thing. I was like, what is this? What is this kid supposed to mean?
And C, Josh Safdie. You've made two really good movies about people who are obsessed with something or driven to do something so badly that they keep doing chaotic shit and it ramps up tension until finally someone explodes, someone dies, etc. On this one, I'm like, it just feels random and like none of it actually means anything.
And it's too long for that.
And it's just like, why? I'm like, so like, we don't need to care about the orange ping pong balls. And we never figure out what happens with Kevin O'Leary's wife, Gwyneth Paltrow. And also, we're supposed to believe that Mr. Swagger, Marty himself, never once, after he has a falling out with him, says, I fuck your wife. Also, what happens with all his friends at the ping pong hall? What happens? I don't know. I don't get it. It's a great performance. It's like he's a very compelling actor. I get it, but oh man. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that movie's about.
I'm glad people like it, but I completely agree. I've already said enough about this film. This is one of those things where like there are times every year it never fails, which is why this category exists, that I will come out of a movie either like raving about it, like I just can't stop talking about it. And there's a movie that I hate so much that I also can't stop talking about it. Yeah. And that's this movie for me.
Yeah.
Where I don't even want to say anything more about it. Like it's going to get awards, which is super annoying for me. Yeah. I'm not rooting for it at all.
Wait, so why the fuck do you like Avatar?
No, I'm just saying I get it.
What do you get about Avatar?
I will go to Avatar and I will watch that and I will watch it in 3D.
On mute?
And it feels, it's like, how did they go to Pandora and film this documentary of this world? Like, I don't understand. Like it literally, it feels so tangible. It feels so amazing. I do love the world of it. I do love certain characters of that film. I get why people like it. I get why why people really, really enjoy these stories. Did I like the story of Avatar: Fire and Ash? No. Do I get why people are falling in love with Varong and think she's like the hottest thing with two legs ever? Yeah. Because she looks like it feels real to me. You know, like I like, there's something tangible about the whole experience. And like, I come away, I get it. I is all I'm saying is I get it. I'm not saying it's the best movie of the year. It wasn't on any other list. But.
It's one of the worst. It's horrible.
That's fine. Yeah.
The dialogue is offensive.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. No one knows what the fuck the plot's about of that movie.
Yeah.
They're like,
it is technically the second half of the second movie.
Oh, I saw the second one.
but apparently they were made to be like one movie. He just made it too long, and so he split them up.
I also like, dude, how are we not up in arms about the fact that there's a white kid with dreads whose name is Spider, who runs around in loincloth and wants to be one of the blue tribal people? Their nickname for
Some
him,
people are talking about
their
it. I'm not going to say
nickname
it's
for
not.
him is Monkey Boy. What the fuck is that shit? Like, are you fucking for real in 2025, the year of our Lord?
The more, here's the thing. The reason I don't like Avatar: Fire and Ash is because it needs to get away from like the white savior kind of thing of it all, right? It needs to get away from like, it needs to like, if you want to focus on this tribe of Na'vi and the intertribes and how they like what their world is like and how they fight each other. I'm tired of like the colonialization like element of it. Like just be about these like tribes in this world. That's great. And then like get rid of like, yes, if you got rid of Spider and all this, like I don't blame the actor. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people are putting a lot of blame on the actor. I was like, he was 15 when he fucking filmed this,
not his
right?
fault.
You know, he's not a good actor when he was 15. yes, maybe he's better now. I don't know. But then when they film this or whatever, like, yeah. So I don't know. I think a lot has been said about those things. And I don't think you're the only one. I will just say there's something about the technology of it and the filmmaking of it. And James Cameron does a tremendous job every time of like bringing these worlds to life that is fascinating to me, even if I don't like the movie and the story.
I'm not trying to say it doesn't look good. It's visually stunning, man. It's just that it's not a movie.
I understand.
It's just like visually the most stunning, immersive thing I've seen in a while for sure. But like there is no plot. There's no story. No one gives a shit about any of it.
There's plot. It's not, as I said in my review of it, they just need to elevate the writing a little bit more. They need to bring in other writers to kind of like really show like what do you want these movies to be about and kind of tighten up that writing.
Why are they saying bro all the time?
Well, that's just a translation.
Why
right?
is
that's just a translation?
Why is Spider saying "eat this buttholes" 10 seconds after someone's like, "This is the most meaningful thing that's ever happened. We need to do this for the sake of all of our species."
It's supposed to.
It's like what?
I don't know. I don't want to justify the movie. I think it's supposed to be a translation. They're speaking Na'vi, and it's he said, "Eat this butthole," but that's just how it translates to English, right? That's not what he said, right?
That's not what Spider said.
No. He's speaking Na'vi. He's speaking something else. That's what they explained in the second movie is like they don't speak English at all, and often they are not speaking English.
I'm not saying that they do, but your job as a filmmaker is to make the translation meaningful and compelling, not alienate them and make them sound dumb to us. It's not like Navi's a real language that he was like, unfortunately, this is literally what it means, so I have to say it. He made it up.
Listen,
so make it fucking compelling.
That's why for this next category, which I stole from the film cast, movie that they didn't get, I put Avatar. Fire. No, I'm just kidding. No, my movie that they didn't get was The Materialists.
Which one's that?
That's a like kind of rom-com with Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro Pascal.
Oh, I forgot about that.
But yeah, I don't know if it's an amazing movie. It's not an amazing romance rom-com by any means. It doesn't fit in that category very neatly. But I think I got a lot of hate.
Yeah. For
absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
And I came away really enjoying this movie. I really liked it. I really related to it. I really understood what it was trying to say about how do we choose, like, do we choose nowadays when it comes to dating and stuff like that? I feel the struggle all the time. Like I'm a starving artist, just like Chris. I'm not like Chris Evans. Chris Evans there's no reason for him to be a starving artist in this movie.
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants.
But don't get me wrong. But like, I relate to that in the fact that like I've had girlfriends where I'm like, I don't feel like if I can provide a certain level of something I can, which I can't. I was like, yeah, we're like going out is such a struggle. Cause I'm like, how do we want to go out and have dinner, but I also don't want to pay $50 each, for like, a thing. It's not even like a special occasion. It's just us trying to like go on a date, but I feel this like struggle. I understood it is what I'm saying. It's like, I feel like people hated on it for no reason, but I understood it on a level that I related to like so much,
Yeah.
So that's why it's my movie that they didn't get, but I really, really like. Do you have a movie that they didn't get?
Honestly, there was a couple from my top 10 that I felt like were that already. Like for me, like Predator Badlands is incredible.
Yeah.
And like, I love that movie so much. And I think it's like super underrated.
I think people just didn't watch it. Not that it's underrated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was like the big one for me that I think that like, I was like, man, I feel like this movie could have been fun for everybody. Like anybody who went and saw the D&D movie, Honor Among Thieves, would have loved that movie.
Oh yeah.
I think anybody who likes the like newer Star Wars movies would have loved that movie. But you know, it carries the Predator baggage.
Yeah. Well, I'll just go and talk about it because this next category, because of that. This is a category. There's a couple of categories that I made up specifically for our podcast. I steal these categories from other people, but this is specifically, I wanted to do something. I was like, well, what's something that we talked about a lot that I feel like, well, how do I fit this in? How do I show like what
Sure.
what this means. So the most swashbuckling property of the year
Well, yeah, I'm curious.
has to be Predator Badlands.
That was literally mine. That was literally mine.
That to me is like is where I'm like
Badlands.
Yeah, it wasn't like. Again, to me, it's like, it's not the best. It's not for me top 10, you know, but some fun fucking moments, you know, when he like, again, all the action scenes when he's an underdog and he's not good at what he does, but then he does some cool shit against that monster that he's fighting, you know, like totally, chopping its head off and doing, I was like, just some really good action stuff here. He's like riding on a fucking rhinoceros thing for like a little bit. That's so swashbuckling. He saves the damsel in distress like last minute and like certain elements, you know, it's so at this, if swashbuckling could have anything, you know, it's this movie.
I agree.
If
100%.
I want to say, you would think you would think that this would be Mission Impossible for me, because that usually you got a guy fighting on a plane, which I think swashbuckling, that's pretty good. It's not sword fighting on a plane, but there's, you know, but it's a pretty close to like swashbuckling. You know, it's got those elements, but man, was Mission Impossible Final Reckoning so bad. I just hated, I love the Mission Impossible franchise, and I don't even think about that movie anymore, but we'll talk about it. Yeah. But that's why it has to be Predator Badlands for me, because it was so much fun. And that finale, the finale in Predator Badlands of him with the cloak and doing of using the engines as like this weird improvisational, but I also planned it kind of thing to get the upper hand on his father, you know? And then of course that final line of like, who's that? You know, it's like, it's my mother. This is cinema.
Like, oh my God, there's a mom. She's worse.
And I can't say why that's swashbuckling, but it's fucking swashbuckling.
It is 100%. No, when you see it. I agree.
Like that's, it's so much fun, but yeah. I skipped over. Do you have best score? You mentioned it a couple of times.
I don't have like a one clear. No,
this isn't an awards show, but I think sometimes I come away being like, there's some music in some of these things I just really love to hit on.
I mean, look, Sinners, incredible.
Yeah.
Thunderbolts, I like the scoring a lot.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Also, Black Bag, like Pete Holmes. He works with Steven Soderbergh a lot.
Not the comedian.
No.
I'm just kidding.
What is that? Wait, maybe I got his name wrong. Is that it? No, it's David Holmes. David Holmes. But he's a composer and a DJ that works with Steven Soderbergh a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't paid attention to the Ocean's 11 soundtrack, like holy fucking shit, it's so fucking good. But like, not only do the two of them like know exactly what they want, but like the movie's sexy, and score and soundtrack has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
When you watch Black Bag, if you haven't yet, you'll get it. He's also the Pete. What's his name? Holmes is the DJ in that like scene, like the second scene of the movie.
Oh right, yeah,
little cameo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, those are probably the three that come to mind for me.
Yeah, I think that I think score is interesting. Like you said, Sinners is really solid. I always love shouting out this because of like a surprising score. And again, I feel like Task really hits this. It's surprisingly good and compelling in a way that I was like, there's no reason for the score to be good. And the same thing with like The Long Walk I had on this list was just, there's something that I just loved how the music fit with this movie, but also like hit some like moments. I almost put How to Train a Dragon here because again, the score is just so epic and so good. I'm like, hey, we got the remake in 2025. Might as well be.
I am obsessed with that movie.
Yeah.
I did not see the remake, the live action or whatever.
The thing is, the remake is, I said it before, it's the same exact movie.
Yeah.
So if you like the animated, you should like the live action movie.
Yeah. I don't want to see it just because I like the original so much that I'm like, I think it could only get worse for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that score is so powerful. I mean, dude, Test Drive like literally brings tears to my eyes every time I hear that song.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This category is also something I specifically wanted to include for our podcast because of how much we talk about it. It might change over the years. Originally, I was going to have like best time travel concept, but there's not enough of a time travel element in the movies that I was like looking at where I'm like, okay, well, we just didn't get enough this year. But so I've just put best sci-fi concept.
Sure.
I'd be curious, what is your best sci-fi concept?
I had 3-way tie because I didn't really want to pick babies. But I mean, like Badlands and Killer of Killers were up there for me.
Mm-hmm.
My number one was probably though Alien Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh, I love the conceit that like not only is the xenomorph on Earth now, it's like not out in space, but that like there's all these like robots that have real human consciousnesses transferred into them, and they're like learning. I was like, oh my God, this is so fascinating. Yeah. Right. You almost like don't need the xenomorph at all for the show to be interesting.
It's more of a Blade Runner. I've mentioned this before on the podcast when we talked about it with my friend Vic. It's more of a Blade Runner series than it is an Alien series. Yeah,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And the kind of concepts that it's dealing with.
But I'm like, and like not so like yes, the transferal of human consciousness from its original body into a cyborg or robot one. Mm-hmm. Fascinating. I will listen to that shit forever. Fucking Elon wants to do that shit. Very relevant. Also, within that kind of flavor too, having like this young tech quadrillionaire who's just so humanless and like cold and just obsessed with his success and stuff. I'm like, very timely. Yeah. Very like tasty late stage capitalist kind of stuff that I'm like, very cool. And obviously I'm a big fan of the Alien universe. So. Yeah. Well, my pick for favorite sci-fi concept has to be Pluribus. I feel like it took something that people have been arguing about for the months that since it's come out, especially in my clips and in the TikToks and on the podcast itself. But it makes it not about the sci-fi-ness of it, but it very much is so ingrained into that. Like it's very like it's almost like a gateway sci-fi, it's not beating you over the head with like the sci-fi concepts, like say like Foundation probably does, but it's because it's really about like these character pieces of humans, but it has this sci-fi bent to it, and I think it's created the most conversations that anything else has this year and the most arguments and stuff, which I feel like is what good sci-fi is about. Yeah. Sci-fi is a great way to show like how it's like the metaphors of life visually done, you can actually like represent the metaphors in like reality, Totally. And I think that's what makes it for me, the best sci-fi of this year. One last category I felt like including, oh, you know what? I didn't write this. There's two last categories. Oh, what do you got? The best moment in a movie theater. Best moment of 2025, which is something I added afterwards. Because there's this very specific moment I wanted to talk about, and I didn't talk about it in my top 10. Yeah. But what are you going to talk about? I feel like the best moment in a movie theater, which is why Sinners was my number one movie, is that moment. And to me, this is where we can talk about format, right? I saw this in 70 millimeter IMAX. So I don't know if you saw this, but in that scene that you talked about of him playing the guitar and being visited by the ancestors and the descendants, of future and past, coming together. When it happens in IMAX, which I waited for months to see because it was sold out, I could not get a good seat in IMAX. He starts playing the guitar and starts going into it, and you go from this like letterbox thing, and then the bars slowly raise up until it becomes like the full like the image frame, kind of. And that was the coolest moment I had seen in a theater all year. Mission Impossible tried to do this in the submarine sequence, which I will talk about in the next category without spoiling, but so maybe there's something there, but yeah, after that, and then it just keeps going. The bars raise and it just keeps going and it just keeps going. It's like all done in like this conceit of a one shot while this music is just playing. And it's just a beautiful, amazing cinematic moment.
everyone was just stuck in like stillness. And like, I wanted to stand on my feet and clap afterwards. I'd never experienced a moment like that in the cinemas. I was like, why is everyone so quiet right now? And I didn't want to like ruin the moment for everyone, but I feel like that was like, the commanding presence like the screen had like on everyone in that IMAX theater was just tremendous. I feel like that was the best moment of the year for me in terms of just like cinematic experience. Do you have anything for this?
Man. I mean, admittedly, I would say at least 2 or 3 of the movies on my list I didn't see in theaters. Definitely not K-Pop Demon Hunters. I didn't see Eddington in theaters. So yeah, I might have different opinions if I had seen it all in theaters. But I mean, I gotta be honest. I think that like my favorite experiences were probably either like there was a handful of moments during Naked Gun where like the audience was just laughing so hard that like I couldn't even hear what was happening in the movie anymore.
Like you missed some jokes or whatever.
Yeah. Or like, I mean, there's like 2 deaths in particular in Final Destination Bloodlines where like, 2 or 3 people screamed and then like the rest of the audience started laughing because of like how physically grossed out or scared they were and they reacted. So yeah, those are the moments that I think of. Yeah. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I think those are very, again, reason I wanted that category was because I do believe in, I know we talked about format again.
Yeah.
And we have our thoughts on that, but I do believe in like the theatrical experience and you don't get these moments at home sometimes, like watching it. It doesn't matter like what format you go to the movie theater and watch it. But I think seeing some of these things, if I'd seen Sinners online afterwards, I don't think it would have been as amazing of an experience as seeing that moment with everyone in a packed house with that. I don't think the moment with Hamnet would have been as impactful if it wasn't for like hearing everyone else having the same moment that I was having. Like, I felt like I was connecting with other people, you know?
Totally.
That to me is like the power of the theatrical experience, which is why I want to like encourage people to see movies like in the theaters, you know?
100%.
Doesn't matter like what format. I will say Dolby is probably the best. You don't have to see everything in 70 millimeter IMAX, you know?
You don't have to see anything in anything.
Also,
just go to the theater.
There's only 5 70 millimeter IMAXs. If you go to IMAX, it's not a real IMAX screen. You might as well just go to, because if it's not the full screen, which is only 5 theaters in the US that you can watch in, like
2 of which are in LA.
2 of which are in LA, one's in Austin. So any of my Texas friends that are still out there, like you're close to one. But I would say go see Dolby at the very least, because Dolby, especially if you have AMC A-list, like just like it doesn't cost you anymore, you know?
It's true.
And Dolby, I think, is superior if only for the fact that like it's the way that it's projected. That's my opinion on it. It's like it's just a great way to see a film.
Yeah.
That we don't get that kind of like experience. I'm not saying you have to, or like that's the only way to experience a movie. But if you're going to go to a movie theater, I will always choose Dolby first. And then if I can't see it in Dolby, then I'll see another time, you know, or whatever. Right. And then the last category I have here is best scene in a movie, in an otherwise terrible movie. I already kind of spoiled it, so I'll just talk about mine first, was that, and you know, I guess verdict's out on whether it's a terrible movie, but I think that arguably the submarine scene in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is so fucking good. This is why I love Mission Impossible, right? Yeah. This is why we go to the theater. And again, very similar thing where he like starts twisting the like closing up the on the submarine. He starts like opening the door or whatever, and as he twists, the bars go up a little bit and then go up a little bit and go up a little bit until it's like full IMAX screen, and then the whole submarine scene. That's just like it's beautiful, you know. And I hated like the rest of that movie, but if that movie was more like that one scene, would have been amazing. Would have been my top one, you know. Like I needed that movie I needed Mission Impossible to stick the landing, and I don't think it did, unfortunately. But that's another whole podcast or whatever. But to me, that fits as like the best scene in an otherwise not great film.
Yeah.
But and this is again, there's a lot of good scenes that I almost pointed out from like my top 10, but I'm like, no, but they're good movies, so they might as well, like, I talked about the scenes there anyway, so
I feel similarly. Like, I think like, I liked Superman. I don't think it's an otherwise bad movie.
Yeah.
I just, it's too superhero-y to get into my top 10 or honorable mentions, but like, I'll say it again. I mean, like the scene where he's telling Lex at the end why he's just as human as anybody else. It's like fucking chef's kiss.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm trying to think if I have any other, like if I'm stretching here. I mean, did you see Anaconda?
I didn't get to see Anaconda yet. No.
I don't think it's very good. There's like 2 or 3 scenes that are insanely funny.
Yeah.
And they're like perfect.
Yeah.
Like, there's like, it's like that. I think that's like, that movie is like gold for that category.
Yeah.
Cause there's probably at least 3 scenes that are like every line, every delivery, everything is just like perfect. It's just like the movie as a whole doesn't really get off the ground.
I will say I had 2 honorable mentions for this that were not in my top 10. And one of them is the Stranger Things finale, which is like just the final scene, regardless of the rest of fucking Stranger Things, which I was like, but like that final scene of them playing D&D, that's a pretty good scene.
Okay.
That's a pretty good finale, and then the other thing was something that I just want to talk about that I feel like you mentioned him before, but I've seen no one talking about it anymore. But Nathan Fielder in The Rehearsal, the second season, he flies a plane.
Yeah.
Like that final moment of him flying and landing a plane to get to that like finale or whatever. I'm like, this is amazing. Like this is like the best stunt. This is what you want a Mission Impossible to be, right? Like that. Like this is like the best stunt,
arguably more
I've
impressive
ever seen. Again, like I'm saying it is pretty impressive. Again, a scene again, I don't include it in the category because I don't think The Rehearsal was bad or terrible by any means.
Certainly
so like
not.
it is full of like really really good scenes, but I feel like that was just such a tremendous scene, but I couldn't include it in this category because I didn't consider it a terrible thing, but I wanted to shout it out. But again, to me, that has to be the submarine scene.
Fair enough.
That's where it fits that category. But yeah, this is a long one.
Yeah, holy shit.
A lot longer than I expected. I didn't realize we were going to talk so much about some of these things, but I guess it is the top 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, what made it on our list that were on your list? What didn't make it on your list? What should we have watched or mentioned?
Yeah, what did we miss? Are we just going to fight about Marty Supreme all day?
I really hope not.
Me too.
But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed that. I know some people have mentioned we should do more movie stuff on the podcast, and I wish I could. I wish we could do more movie reviews, but it is like a full-time job doing this podcast, and honestly, like TV shows take up a lot of time, and this is a weird out there thing for this podcast to mostly be about TV shows, and then to go and have a top 10 about movies, but this was our chance to talk about the movies we didn't really get to really dive deep into, so that's why I wanted to do it, so
For sure.
Kind of a bonus episode for you guys, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully you'll join us next year when we go through our other top 10. You got to start making that list now.
I got to be track better.
But yeah, join us again next when Natalie returns, and we're going to talk about Night of the Seven Kingdoms. You can always email us, chat with us online, do one of those kind of things. And Morgan, hopefully we'll be back. We'll talk about what else is coming up this year that we can maybe like talk about after Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I don't even know what's on the docket next, but we'll have to see.
There's a lot of TV out there.
Yeah. But thank you. And thank you guys. We'll see you around. Thank you for listening to Codependent Content. For updates, you can follow us on social media. And if you ever want to see a video version of this podcast, feel free to check us out on YouTube or Spotify. If you have any questions or simply want to tell us about something we missed, you can email us at codependentcontent@gmail.com, or just leave a comment on TikTok and we'll get back to you. Links to all our accounts, where to contact us, or other ways to support will be in the description or show notes. We're glad you're here and working through your traumas with us. Remember, when you're lost in the darkness, search for the light. Live long and prosper, and may the force be with you. Until the next session, Cowabunga, dudes.